And then we'll get underway. We'll watch a 10-minute video. So if you need to do any little things, you can have a few more extra minutes. Okay, I'm going to resume the recording. And welcome, everyone. Friends close and friends we keep even closer. This is the Kesh Corona Telegram meeting in English for Sunday, August 9th, 2020. It's the 7 p.m. session. Central European summertime. It's called the North American Team. I'm your host, Mark Anderson, along with Alex Skorick, and in the background, Peggy Hunter. She's keeping an eye on us to make sure we're correct, and as we know in the foundation, the women are taking over. Mr. Kesh said the men have had it long enough, and we haven't scored a goal, or something along that line. What I'm going to do first is just play a continuation of the video we started last week. We're going to play a 10-minute section of an interview that Mr. Kesh did in 2011, and he's speaking mostly about himself and the technology. So this will give you some background if you don't have any, as we allow others to come in.
At the moment, we are running some 30-40 trials, literally around Europe, America, Canada, Middle East, Far East, and in Belgium, in Holland, in England. And we are learning that, and we are getting to the point that we can make one system to be able to be programmed to reset anybody, any physical body, from any illness. And the signs are that we are very correct, and the process is still going on. I am born in a house where radiation was part of the bed and breakfast. It was part of the food of the family. My father was part of the Philips International in medical x-rays. So I was introduced to the world of radiation at a very young age, seeing operation of the x-ray machines and everything else. And then I went to England to study as a nuclear engineer, graduate from Queen Mary College as a nuclear engineer, specialized in reactor system control and technology. I could not see any future for what I wanted to do within the industry, so I worked independently, financing the technology, and at the same time researching it. And since 2002, more or less full-time, I spent on development of the technology. But it's been a long haul process. We have communications from 14th of June 1985 with NASA, where we proposed this technology. And we have developed the technology over years in stages, but in past 5 or 6 years has gone totally in a very meteoric scale up, that we are literally developing everything and different aspects of the technology on a daily basis. The whole of science will change from what we know in one way or another in a very near future. As I gave a presentation to scientists in institute or organization known as IMEC in 2005. A scientist who was part of the directors of one of the subsidiaries of this establishment, he was walking in the room, up and down. We asked him, why are you pasting? He said, we were talking recently that very soon somebody will discover how gravity is done, and the whole ball game changes. And now this guy is here and explaining how it's done. You have to understand that this technology has been evaluated by University of Brussels, Flemish side VUA, by Professor Van Overmeer initially, for the assessment for the Flemish or Belgium federal or governmental side of the aerospace. And they said initially, yes, the technology is correct, it's feasible that it produces energy. Then the technology was assessed by independent commercial entity to see if a copy can be made. And they said, yes, it can be done. Then we start building prototypes, different prototypes over 4 or 5 years. And then we saw the first flips in Belgium in mid-2006. 2007 it was carried on. And in 2008, with the invitation from the Iranian government, we built the first proper gravitational external movement in Tehran, which has been tested. And now the system is very floating, and we can fly, we can move any movement we like. And as we have said very recently at the Keshe Foundation Forum, if the Russian Space Agency and the American NASA Space Agency will not be able to assist their astronauts, which are in the space lab, as the Americans don't have any more space program till 2020, and the Russian rocket has recently exploded. They are not launching anything till they find out what's happening. We are so advanced that we are prepared to intervene, and if need be, to bring the astronauts back. And we are preparing ourselves for such a demonstration. We have shown the system to the scientists at University of Kent. They have seen the physical system. We have shown the videos of the weight reduction and lift to the scientists and officials from the Belgian government and within the Belgian structure. In past 3 years, they know exactly what it stands. The Americans know what it is there, and with the Canadian government, when they arrested me in Canada last year for 11 days, they have downloaded the whole thing. They know it's very true and very correct. Because in the package of the documents they downloaded and they copied, there are videos of the lift and weight reduction. They know it's correct, and it's a copy of what was developed in Tehran.
And why did they capture you, or like what were they looking for?
Nobody knows how. The reason that I was arrested on board of a plane on a transit from Brussels to Mexico City, on transit in Toronto Airport, nobody knows. I was interrogated at one stage, or 2 days, 3 days, up to 12 agents and scientists at the same time in the airport of Toronto Airport, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock the next day, on 3 days, consecutive days. And they've copied everything in my suitcase, in my dossier, which I was carrying as a scientific trip. And they were so stupid that they left some of their papers and their documentation. They were in such a hurry to copy in my suitcase. So when I returned, I opened my suitcase because they just put me on the plane back to Belgium. And we put all the documents on the internet. So all the Canadian government document officials copying my things, all the bags, what they had in their hand, keys, what do you call it, internet keys, hard disks, how many hard disks they stole, they copied everything. It's all on the internet. We actually got physical, left all their documents saying, certified that my passport, all my documents are carried as correct. It's all is in our hand and in our possession.
But like, aren't there like a lot of people who have like problems with you, or like the way you're gonna handle things, or it's against their business as well?
We don't have problem with nobody. The thing is, as American naval officer, high-ranking officer told me in Seoul, in Hamilton Hotel in 2008, when they asked me to attend a meeting to see their officials. They said the problem with me is that I don't talk. As a scientist, I'm not a theoretical physicist. What I talk, I make systems that shows the reality of what I talk. I'm an engineer, so when I think of something, I can physically make the system and show it. And this is the problem with what I do. When I say we can lift, we understand the gravity and magnetic fields, we build a system to prove the technology. I build everything physically from A to Z. And then we test it and it works. It's the same what we've done with medical applications. In 2008, when there was a girl in coma in a hospital in Belgium, when we said we can bring her out of coma, when she was in Glasgow 3, which is literally a heartbeat, there was no brain activities, the doctors called me a charlatan. Within 7 days, the girl recognized the mother, recognized the father, recognized the family, and by Belgian law, the machine should have been turned off by 6th of May 2009 because the body was dead. The girl is alive. She's been tested by scientists at Liège University with a collaboration from scientists from Cambridge University and scientists from Israel to confirm that she's fully conscious. She recognizes the whole condition, and we have videos of it which has been sent to us by the mother to confirm it was the right decision for us to allow a body, a human being, to live and not to be killed by present knowledge in the world of science. The reason why we got it developed, I pushed ahead with the medical application of the technology, is that we are very much running operation parallel or the same, or any operation a space technology development organization does as we do. NASA does the same. Russian Space Agency does the same. Iranian Space Agency does the same. The Chinese Space Agency does the same. Is that we try to cover all aspects of it: the medical, the food, the energy for space, and lift and motion. So, for me, has been the point that we cannot take all the medicine to space. We cannot take all the doctors with us to space. There will be more medicine than cargo to cover the headaches, the migraine attacks, the heart attacks, and there'll be more doctors than the astronauts to do the heart operation if somebody goes sick, or to, God knows, do an amputation or whatever comes up. So the whole concept is that we are making one system in space. We do not need, even if we come in touch with new diseases and germs, we can't fly all the way back to Earth for somebody done a clinical trials for 10 years to see what the results are. All diseases are energy based, are magnetic field based, and they are plasmatic magnetic field based. So now we're developing one system that in space we don't need to carry any medicine. And that's the whole objects of the production, of getting involved in the material side of the medical application. We are not in competition with pharmaceuticals. Our objectives are space only. So we're developing a technology where in space, one system can handle most and all the diseases known and to be come across in the space for us, because space is full of viruses.
Okay, that was just a little clip from 2011. As we know, we're getting practice now with the corona, and as Mr. Kesh said, this practice is for us to learn how to handle viruses when we go into space. I would like to hand it over to Alex if he's ready. Alex Skork is going to be bringing us or sharing knowledge with us today.
Thank you very much, Mark. Joshua was asking for permission to record. Is that possible?
I think it is, if Peggy will allow that. Okay, here she is in the chat. You are set up now, Joshua. And thank you, Alex, for being here and taking your time to share with us.
Well, I have so many things I want to talk about, and basically, I have to pare it down to something that we can talk about in a reasonable amount of time. Just to mention that Joshua is here, and what's going on around him. We're having a new corona virus outbreak in Canada, and it's all around Joshua. It's all around. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is what is the difference between 2 weeks ago and today. And this came up at the Brazilian meeting on Friday night. And so I wanted to get directly into that. So I'm going to share the screen. And while I'm doing that, I want to say my name is Alex Skork. I want to welcome all of you to this beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is the Kesh Corona Telegram meeting in English. This is the North American team. That includes Canada, US, and Mexico. And we have a lot of visitors from other continents, and you are all welcome because as we are providing universal systems, as we want to go into the universal community, we need to think on a universal basis. So we're all in this together. And, it comes to my mind what the Three Musketeers said, right? All for one and all for me. That's what it is on this self serving society. We're almost there, Mark.
We see your screen, yes.
I want to get right into it today because there's a lot of people who are complaining loud, really loud, like really, really loud. I don't want to talk about those people. I want to talk about the people who are just complaining loud. Today we have two protests going on in Canada, one in Quebec, one in Ontario. They're protesting the masks. And the reason they're protesting the masks is because it's a violation of our rights. And let me just start out by saying these people are stupid. And the reason for that is, I don't mean to jump to conclusions, but the facts bear themselves. We are in an emergency situation, and during an emergency situation, you lose all your rights as a citizen. So if you're out there claiming your freedom and your rights during a period of time when you have no freedom or rights, that is insanity. And I don't understand how come you're so well organized when the whole purpose of the masks is to complement the lockdown. So we didn't protest a lockdown, now we're protesting masks. What caused the lockdown? What caused the mask? What caused the social distancing? Oh, it's the coronavirus. Okay, why are we not protesting the coronavirus? Why are we not well organized to protest the coronavirus? Is that a legitimate question? Well, when you ask the protesters, why are you protesting against the mask? Is because we don't believe there is a coronavirus, so the government has falsely forced us to wear the mask and they're infringing on our rights. No, they have infringed on your rights. You have no rights. So get back into your little caves and shut up, because what we have is a situation here of massive denial. And that denial is the denial of reality. And today we're going to talk about that reality because we have a mission and we have a problem. The problem is the size of the mission. The size of the mission is daunting. And one of the ways we're going to overcome that, and what we've tried to do over the years, we have several years of archives in the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute, our school. And the next trimester starts on Monday 21st, September 2020. And this is a whopping 100 euros per year. In Canada, it translates to $164 a year. And this is a PhD level education. It is capable of delivering to you at your pace, however you want. And also you can participate as a knowledge seeker. And so, although this presentation and most of the people here are knowledge seekers already, there are new people that are always coming on. And so this is our dilemma. How do we convey the multiple years of knowledge? And what did Mr. Kesh say? It was going back to 1985. Really? 1985? This is 2020. You know, in 1991, I discovered how to alleviate cancer. And I ran into the problem because I was very grateful and I wanted to tell people. Well, you know, the funny thing is people really didn't want to know. And that's the same problem we're having today. And that is the problem. Not the mask, not the lockdown, not even the virus is the problem. The problem is that we don't understand the rules of the game. And the rules of the game include the universal community. So this is a newfound, shall we say, perspective. And so this is the link, the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. And this is what the actual unit is looking like as it's coming off the assembly lines. And we will be seeing these in action all over the world. And when I say action, uh, stay tuned. But you know, the amazing thing is we're tossing money around like there's no tomorrow. And we're talking about millions, billions, trillions. And here in 500,000 euros, we can have a universal body enhancement spaceship unit that'll do some amazing things. And what is amazing is that we are doing other amazing things. And these amazing things have to do with the biggest scandal that we have going on in Canada right now. And I keep bringing this up because other things keep coming up. And I wonder why this scandal is as huge as it is because it's touched a nerve. And that nerve has to do something with, well, for those of you who like to drink this red stuff, and you understand the relationship between that and the other brother who is a Rhodes Scholar. And people say, you know, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, I think it's a duck. And in Canada, we got things upside down. In the United States, we got huge problems. But let's just focus on one problem. Let's go to Corpus Christi. What did we talk about 2 months ago in the Knowledge Seekers Workshop? We talked about the variations, the mutations of the virus that affected children. 85 cases of infants under 23 months. Numbers are doubling. This is as of August the 5th. You know, how much can we stomach? How much can we sit by and watch stuff like this happen? Why are we well organized to protest masks? We're not well organized enough to defend our children. And why am I saying this? Well, let's look at what's happening in Mexico. Okay, let's look at what's happening in Brazil. Brazil, we came up with a very, very important thing that came up Friday night. For those of you who were there, you witnessed a great thing happening there. People were asking for leadership. They were asking for trying to figure out why are we having trouble. For those of you who have followed this story, this is a chief, a native chief. His daughter there with the mask had the virus, and he resorted to the plasma technology to eradicate the virus. And with that success, he has decided to make peace. Peace, oh yes, peace with his neighbors. And he's decided to share with them via workshops, knowledge seekers workshops, to explain to them the benefits of the plasma science and how it can affect the virus there, so that they don't have to wear the mask. Eliminate the virus, you eliminate the lockdown. Eliminate the lockdown, you eliminate the mask. You eliminate the social distancing. We get back to normal. Isn't that the way we should do that? And so when I say what has changed, the big complaint in Brazil was this particular document, which is the Plasma Science Journal, that shows a successful application of the newly discovered GANS plasma and GLANS water technology for detection, cure, and prevention and environmental disinfection of the COVID family of viruses in trials in Iran 2020 pandemic, which was actually published on June the 1st and was suppressed for about 8 weeks at the cost of lives at a minute around the clock, and now has finally received the blessing of the supreme leader of Iran. And so many of the administrators in Iran are pushing forward to implement this technology. And implementing is the word of the day, because that's the question that they had in Brazil. Why are we not implementing in Brazil? And could it be possible that we need this document, we need to translate it into Portuguese so that we can use this? Well, I got news for you. We've had this translated in English for a long time, And frankly, it's not made any difference. And why would that be any difference when, as I say, going back to 1991 and what to do about cancer, and it doesn't make any difference, does it? And so here we are. We can eradicate the coronavirus. It's at our disposal for a couple of bucks per person, and we have documentation, scientific evidence, and it doesn't make any difference, right? Why are we locking down in Melbourne? You want to complain about masks? How about a lockdown? Would you like a lockdown where you can't even go onto the street at 6 o'clock at night, where the police are walking along the street and they're ready and eager? Eager? Why, buddy? Because you got $5,000 in the bank and we want it. You're out on the street violating curfew. It's a $5,000 fine. Holy cow. So, and why is Australia doing this? We have the English translation of the scientific documentation. What is your problem? So, let me just read this letter that Jim McDonald posted. And he's from Australia. And it's regarding the coronavirus solution. This is from the Kesh Foundation Manufacturing Australia. We would like to bring to your attention a research paper produced by the Kesh Foundation in relation to the successful processing of COVID-19 in China and Iran in 2020. Using the plasma science and GANS technology developed by MT Kesh of the Kesh Foundation, they have successfully shown in trials the effectiveness of using this technology to eradicate the coronavirus. In trials conducted, a success rate of 95% was achieved. 95%. 95% success rate was achieved. And the most exciting aspect of this technology is that it can be used in the following manner. So one is prevention. The same technology can be used to spray the home, workspaces, public spaces to help reduce the risks of contracting the virus. So for all of you anti-maskers out there who are harassing the restaurant owners, who are doing nothing more than complying with the current law, asking you to wear a face mask so the restaurant owner doesn't get shut down and fined, why are you harassing that buddy there? When if we can prevent the virus by spraying in our homes and workspaces and public spaces, we won't need the mask and we won't need to worry about social distancing. We need something to detect the virus. There's a problem with the detection, so a simple method of spraying a person with GANS water will reveal whether the person has contracted the virus or not. And then, of course, we can extend our sphere of influence to the environmental disinfection. So areas that are contaminated with the virus can be successfully treated using the GANS water. Do we know where these areas are? We can't see it. We can only hear about it after it happens, right? Like in Corpus Christi or in Manitoba, Canada, or in Florida or Arizona or Texas or California or, like Brazil and Spain, France, Iran, China, Australia, wherever. Treatment. As shown in the report, a success rate of 95% was achieved in the treatment of patients infected with the coronavirus. So the Kesh Foundation, we are the Kesh Foundation, offers a holistic solution to process the coronavirus. Why are we the Kesh Foundation? We are all volunteers. We are here because we want to be here. And why do we want to be here? Please read carefully and consider your decision. Our community and every life within our community is precious. A solution is available. Jim McDonald, Director. So this was published in English, and look at the difference. What has happened? Not much, not really. And so we said to the Brazilians on Friday, you've asked the right question. The solution is the wrong solution. Whether or not it gets translated into Portuguese is irrelevant. What is relevant is that we have a 95% success rate. And so it's so many, and we're talking about over 3,400 knowledge seekers in Brazil are making these cups. We have the soul of man, the soul of physicality, the physicality of man, the inertia and the gravity of the planet. So these are all the technical aspects of how we can produce GANs to eradicate the virus. What I want to talk about today is how to eradicate the malaise that we have on this planet, because the virus is actually emblematic of what's going on. The cups of life are emblematic of what we need to do to stop that physically. But what we need to do is we need to understand the plasma science. And so the real problem, and this is where it was a very, very gratifying discussion with the Brazilian community on Friday night. And I want to bring this to the North American team to understand that our discussion is, why is it that when we have this solution, we are still not able to make the change that is so necessary? So it's almost like we've got all these cars all over the place, and you still insist on taking your tricycle to work. Okay, so there are more advanced technologies out there, and we need to use them. We need to implement them. And what is at stake? Nothing much, nothing much, just the future of our society, right? And we can hear by the protests, the loud, loud protests, that for some reason, some people are not happy with the future. Well, the future in Brazil right now, you know that we're at the breaking point in Brazil because we have a lot of people who are uh, giving trouble on the Telegram site in Brazil. And I say to them the same thing I say to the maskers, anti-maskers. You're picking on the wrong people. Don't you understand that you are expendable? So, for whatever motivation, and I tend to believe it has to do with money, and that's short term, for whatever motivation you are fighting for, you're very myopic, and you will be just as expendable as we are. So, get your head screwed on straight and understand that there's 100,000 people in Iran who figured it out. Why is 100,000 in Iran? Because there's 25 million sick, and the population's only 80 million. So at some point, someone has finally figured it out, and they can't stomach it anymore. They can't stomach the losses, and they can't rationalize it. Okay? Their conscience is hurting. They can't sleep at night. They're crying rivers of tears, and enough is enough. And so Mr. Keshe's books are being translated into Iran. And for those of you who don't understand, this is a major, major accomplishment, because this is not an easy task to do. And there's more involved than just simply publishing. And so now not only do we have the first book coming into reality, the second and third books are being translated. As I say, we have had um, we have had the English translation for a long, long time, and it hasn't made a difference. So we have the Universal Order of Creation of Matters on the book number 1. That's been around for quite a while. Book number 2, The Structure of Light. That's been around for quite a while. And The Origin of the Universe. And that's taking us into a whole different direction, isn't it? So for those of you who are new knowledge seekers, and you want to know what's going on, you have a long way to go. And so our dilemma is, how do we start? Well, I think the problem here is we have to start at the beginning and understand that if we don't eradicate this virus, we don't have to worry about much else. And so what we found out, there are multiple strains, multiples of each strains. They're transmitted by field strength. There are 25 different strains, 25 different strains as per the scientific report, which, as I said, the CBS News has identified 6 different strains. So we're about 19 short of a load, and 2 of those strains affect children under the age of 2 or even 1. And so what we're seeing is symptoms where the children, our children, get affected, temperature rises, they go into a coma and they die. And it's done in very, very short order. Forget about the 14-day quarantine. We're talking about 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever. It's a very short period of time. So we don't have time to protest about things like masks. We need to get rid of the virus. That's our main focus. In order to get rid of the virus, we have to understand how the virus operates. So please forgive me because I've done this repeatedly. And my only comment is that I haven't done it 15 times yet. So I'm going to have to repeat this more often in the future. But the reason I repeat it is because you want to be able to convey this message to the new people out there. You want to be able to do it in a concise, quick manner. Explain to them that there is more within what they're seeing, that they're shortchanging themselves. So there's a magnetical gravitational relationship in plasma science. It affects our giving and taking. Giving and taking is something we all know about. Most of us do a lot of giving at Christmas. And the rest of the year, we do a lot of taking. And we like to take it at other people's expense. This involves an emotional and a physical penalty. This emotional and physical penalty manifests itself in the physicality in our society. And in the plasma science, there is a link. And that is a link between, let's just say, physically zinc and copper. And it is for this reason that we introduced the 1 cup and the 2nd cup. So what we tried to do was create a very, very fast solution to the coronavirus. So we can do this in 1 cup and a 2nd cup. We can do it in less than half an hour, assuming we have all the materials that we need. And then we start developing something which what we have to understand is how reality is manifest. And so when we look at reality, think of it as a roof on a house. That is our physicality. The roof is our physicality. If you're looking at it from the top, that's all you see is the physicality. You don't see the substructure that's below. That substructure consists of matter state, dark matter, and antimatter, and this was discussed extensively in book number 1. And in plasma reality, you can take the roof off, but you can leave the walls. The matter state, dark matter, and antimatter. The thing about this is that the substructure, the plasma reality, is non-tangible and non-visible. The roof, the physical reality, is visible and tangible. So therefore, you can have a substructure and not see it, or you can have a substructure with a manifest reality. But what happens, what is a virus? It's an energy pack. And didn't Mr. Zakesh just say that in the intro today? The very well chosen intro today. It's an energy pack. And as such, an energy pack does consist of matter, dark matter, and antimatter, but there is a problem with it, and that is it is going all over the place. How do we contain this? Well, that's the question. And where is it now? Well, where you don't have the plasma reality, you have what we call as a vacuum. And most of us perceive a vacuum to be nothingness. Well, nothing is nothing. Something is always something. Okay, so something is always something as opposed to something else. And this is what it is doing in a vacuum. It is going from here to there until it finds a place to go somewhere. And where is that place? And that place would be to some place we call a reality. And that would be a plasma reality. And we can't see it. Well, we can't see in the vacuum either. So what's the difference? The difference is as we increase the field strength, we have a capability of manifesting a reality. So we have to reduce that strength to create a reality. How can we reduce if we don't have excess? So, as the energy in the vacuum travels, comes into the plasma reality, and as the plasma reality becomes more dynamic and grows, then it has an excess which it can give and donate and manifest a physical reality. And this is the unique structure on this planet. This is the Gans that I got out of a cup number one. And I was washing my Gans, and a funny thing happened. I did not make this dent in the middle of the Gans. I'm looking at it from the top down into the glass, and I did not take a swizzle stick here and make that hole in the middle. I did not do that. I don't know how that happened there. I didn't see anybody do that. I didn't see how it happened. But I'll tell you what, there is a form, artifact of it happening. So therefore, there's an energy field in there that has caused that to happen, and I don't see it. I would call that non-visible, non-tangible energy. That is the plasmatic energy, and what does it do? It creates a rotational field. Okay. But we do see the Gans. Okay. So the Gans is physical, and the plasmatic field in the middle is non-physical. Okay. Well, so what are we missing when we look at the one cup of life and the second cup of life and all the cups of life? We're not seeing these fields. And so let's just discuss these fields in specifics here. So we have a magnetical field that gives you the rotating construct. Inside the magnetical field, once you create a gravitational field, now you create a balance of fields, and you have the beginnings of a creation of a plasmatic structure. And within that plasmatic structure, you get a soul. So what you have is a representation of a physical structure here that has a substructure of matter, dark matter, and antimatter. So you can describe this to people however you want, okay? But you have to understand that these are the three components of each one of these structures, the magnetical gravitational balance. And so the magnetical gravitational balance, this is a picture that you can't see, okay? So you can't see this, so you can't see the x-axis, which is the rotation, and you can't see the y-axis, which is the polar alignment. And with the balance of the x-axis and the y-axis, now the question is, how big is this field? And the bigness of this field is determined by the z-axis. So is the size of this field predetermined? Is the size of this field fixed? Well, Einstein in his theory of relativity said that the speed of light is constant, okay, and that is the maximum speed that we can go at. So if you go beyond the speed of light, you may get a $5,000 ticket for violating curfew. The coronavirus doesn't care about your stupid laws. It concerns itself with a plasmatic field. The coronavirus is a plasmatic energy pack, and it follows plasmatic rules, has a magnetic field. And in that magnetic field, it morphed into a gravitational field. And then it has a balance of a magnetical gravitational field. So let's review. Magnetical is emotional, it's giving. We tie that into the zinc. The gravitational is physical, that is a taking, and we tie that into copper. Understanding the relationship of the emotional physical and understanding the relationship of the giving and taking is where the soul teachings are going. And so we're at a point now, if we're introducing this concept, we have to be very basic. And we have to say that the higher strength feeds the lower, And this is one of the ways it goes. So we're going to try and demonstrate that today. But you have to remember that there's a question. And that question is, when we're giving and when we're taking, from where are we giving and taking? You know, because if I give, what is that exactly am I giving, and where did I get it to give it? And if you're taking, are you only taking from me, or can you take from somewhere else? So, you know, and why do you decide to take from me, and why didn't you decide to take from somewhere else? You know, so we can go on and list off 1,000 questions as to who and where and what are you giving and taking, and you know, you get to the point where you can't take it anymore. So let's simplify things. So we looked at the 1 cup, and in that we had a zinc plate and a copper coil and a nanocoated copper coil in the middle. But what we've always said is, although you hook them up with wires, and the wires are important to hook them up, what I really want you to look at is the fields. So I understand where's the magnetical field, where's the gravitational field, and what happens as a result of it. But when you look at these physical constructs, you have to understand that each and every one of them has their own magnetical field, their gravitational field. And so collectively now, they are also providing a magnetical and gravitational field. Okay, so all of these fields, the magnetical, gravitational, and the soul fields, all of them have a plasmatic support structure consisting of the matter, dark matter, and antimatter. Okay, so whether you can see it or whether you cannot see it, that plasmatic support structure has to be there. So as long as you know that you have a field, you know that you do not have a vacuum. Rays go through vacuums. Once a ray hits a field, if it has the affinity to join that field, then it engages in the magnetical field and begins a dynamic plasmatic rotation around that field. And in the process, it mutates into a gravitational field and then encompasses a soul field. And this is how it goes. And so we've seen with the 2nd cup, the second same thing happens. We had a copper plate and a copper coil and a nanocoated copper coil, and we created a magnetical field. And we created a balanced condition with a gravitational field. And then the magic started to happen. And we took that one step further and we put the two together. And what happens? The individual components collectively come together to make the total component. So when you look at the total concept, don't worry about the details. You look at the total concept, you have a magnetical field, and that creates a gravitational field. And within that field, you have the soul. So this is the construct of the horizontal man, as opposed to the vertical man. But we're going to deal with the horizontal man today. And we know that the horizontal man has an emotional and physical construct in the brain, and we have an emotional and physical construct in the body. So if we have an emotional physical construct, which means it's a magnetical gravitational relationship, and once we have that, then we achieve a soul. Oh, so now we have to see that there's a soul of the man and a soul of the body. Isn't that interesting? So, and when you look at the sun and the earth, and then you look at how we're interacting with these two, this is where we get into the soul positioning. We're trying to figure out, where am I, who am I, what am I, and where am I going, and why am I doing this? And so we tend to gravitate to the physical, right? Because that's what we see. That's the only thing that we see. We don't see the rest. You know, it's nice to talk about it, but, you know, Friday night over a beer, but, you know, we want to be physical because that's what we need. We need a roof over our head. We need a job. We need money in the bank. We need a fast car, fast women, and, you know, he who has the most toys wins. But as you can see with the construct here, the larger feeds the weaker, and the body is bigger than the brain. This is a direct opposition to the sun, which is bigger and it feeds the earth. So it is through this connection that we exist, you see, because we do exist, you see. Okay, so if you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with being born. The sun has no problem connecting to the soul of the man, no problem connecting to the soul of the body, and no problem connecting to the soul of the earth. Okay, it's us who have the problem. And one of those problems is the limiting factor that our emotions are coming into play here. Now, we can't see the emotions, but we can see the physicality. But, even though we can't see the emotions, we definitely recognize the emotions. And so that kind of limits our thinking. And so what we really need to do is detach from our physicality and get reconnected to our souls. But what does that mean? Does that mean we kind of grow into it? No. Remember, when you were born, your soul came and you were grown into your body. So why would you think now that your body is going to grow into your soul? Like, you know, we got it backwards. We got it backwards. We got to go back to nature. I've taken the liberty of running the magnetical sphere around the sun and the earth here so we can see that the construct of what we see as the sun and what we see as the earth is the gravitational physical manifestation of these two beings. But you have to understand that there is a magnetical sphere around these. And as such, when we have a balance with the magnetical gravitational sphere, oh, we have a soul. So the sun has a soul. Okay. And then the earth has a soul. Okay. Now we're starting to see a pattern. And you know what? We better hurry up because the virus has seen a pattern. And that pattern is a magnetical gravitational relationship. And we've drawn that pattern with the one cup and the second cup. And what we're doing is we're depleting the energy, you see, because energy is always in motion. So the question comes, which way are we going? Are we giving or are we taking? And who are we giving it to? And who are we taking it from? So the plasmatic rules of the game is that the bigger feeds the smaller. So now we get into the third book, and this is the book that is causing a lot of confusion to a lot of people because I'm just going to change the diagram a little bit so that we can see a relationship. We have a sister universe. Yes, we do have a sister universe. We can't see it. We haven't been talking about it, but it's out there. And we have our own little tiny perfect world here. And when we look at the relationship of these two universes, and those are the only two universes that we're looking at here right now, we're discounting the other universes from the other locations. And we're going to look at our tiny perfect world, the earth, and the relationship it has to the sun. And what is our relationship? Oh, well, we're kind of upside down. Okay, so what does that mean? That means because we're earthbound, the physical soul of the body is bound to the physical soul of the earth. And the physical soul of the man is sitting within the physical soul of the body, right? Our physical soul of the body is our little spaceship. And our little spaceship is on this earth spaceship, right? So when we say that the energy is fed higher to weaker, so the earth is created from the sun. Well, then man's universe is also then created from the sister universe. So something is wrong here. And what is wrong is that we are upside down. So the difference between the physical strength and the universal strength is that the universal strength is working with the soul of the man and the soul of the body. So at that point now we have a universal strength, and that is working in opposition to our physical manifestation. Interestingly, the physical manifestation shows that the body is bigger, but in the universal strength, it shows that the soul of the man is bigger. So therefore, field strength and universal strength have different criteria. So let's acknowledge that and understand that when we were born, we had a lot of strength in the womb of our mother. And from there, we grew. And we grew after 9 months and we became part of this physical world. So We started somewhere and we ended up somewhere else. And we were much bigger than what we were. Where did that energy come from? And how did we contain that energy? And so this is the question that we have. All of us are souls on this planet. And right now, what we're saying is that we're all kind of upside down. And can one person change that? Well, yes, it can. And the reason for that is because when we get into the plasma field strength, we find that it is orders of magnitude even stronger. And at that point in time, it's like you're driving your car at 100 miles an hour, and now you're driving it at 1,000 miles an hour. You're 6 feet tall. Now all of a sudden you're 60 feet tall. Wrap your head around that. So, if we can increase our plasma field strength, now we're doing something a little bit different. So what we want to do is we want to take this and convert it to this and keep going so that we can take what is now a hardening, and this is what the latest versions of the virus are doing, is a hardening because of the gravitational nature of it. And we want to put our own coronavirus out there, which is a peace dome. And with this peace dome, we want to contain that and allow us to open up to the energy of the rest of the universe, right? So now we are in line with the way the universe is operating. So the sun feeds the earth, the soul of the man feeds the soul of the body, and the sister universe feeds man's universe. So this is starting to make sense. The thing that didn't make sense is that we actually have two souls. And the reason we have two souls is one is an earthbound soul and one is us. And we see the same thing happening in the universe. So if we look at on the left-hand side, we see that within the universe, although this universe is massively large, we are just a tiny speck in a tiny speck of a tiny speck. So let's carry on. 1 cup, we had zinc and copper coming together with a nanocoated coil. 2nd cup, we had copper and copper plate, copper coil, and a nanocoated copper coil. We introduced a 3rd cup, zinc plate, zinc coil, and we changed that. We made them all nanocoated. 4th cup, like the 3rd cup, except understand this. When we take the cup of soul and we put it in relationship with the cup of man, cup 1 and cup 2, what we find that one feeds the weaker, right? So the cup of soul feeds the cup of man. And so we look at the 4th cup, copper, and nanocoated copper. No, all 3 copper, all 3 nanocoated copper. And then the 5th cup, well, we introduced a new one. We introduced one is zinc, one is copper, and the one in the middle is iron. And so this is the link. So here's a summary of the 5 cups. These are all physical. These are all physical manifestation with relation to our physical earth. So our soul of physicality comes in contact with the physicality. So these 2 cups represent our physicality. The soul of the man is in communication with the soul of physicality and the physicality of man. We have extended that now because the soul of man is giving and taking not only from our physicality, but is taking it also from the soul of inertia of the planet, right? So this is the physicality of the planet. And when we have a physicality of the planet, there must be something else. Somehow we connect to the planet, to the soul of the planet, and this is the connection. Okay, so The sun feeds the earth, the soul of man feeds the soul of the body. And we're on this planet. That works. And that's the same as it is with man's universe and sister universe. But here's the giving and the taking, and where is it coming from? So there must be more. So there's above the 5 cups and there's below the 5 cups. So there has to be a source of inspiration. And how is that affecting us? Well, if the source of inspiration is some kind of plasmatic construct, then it must have a magnetical field, must have a gravitational field, and in turn must have a soul. And if there is a connection, now we know how we got here. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's go back to the cup of soul. So the higher feeds the weaker, and we have our soul in there, but there's a problem here. We're horizontal. We're horizontal people. Okay, so we're missing something. So when we look at this construct here, we find that we have 2 souls. Okay, so let's put the 2 souls in. And so we have in the cup of man a magnetical gravitational relationship with the soul in the 1 cup, and we have a magnetical gravitational relationship in the soul in the 2nd cup. And then the combination of the cup of soul with the cup of man, we find that we have a magnetical gravitational relationship. And so now we have created something. And so there we are. There we are somewhere in the universe, and we want to go out, we want to go and enjoy the universe. And how do we do this when we don't have a planet? We need to take our planet with us. Well, we can't take the planet with us. We don't have baggage that big. We have a lot of baggage, but nothing that big. So, how does man have the audaciousness to want to go into space carrying out some kind of planetary existence? So, what we really want to do here is we want to have a substitute for the planet. Okay, so this is where the Universal Body Enhancement Unit comes in. All what we have to do is go in the Universal Body Enhancement Unit, and then when we want to go somewhere, there has to be a place to go to. And in order for that to have a construct, it needs a magnetical gravitational relationship, all right? Without that, it becomes a vacuum. So that the travel between here and there is the same way the viruses travel in the universe. And the arrival within there is the same way the virus is mutating, right? So we can't take the Earth with us. So we'll take the Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit with us. Why not? So there we are. Now, if we're over there, how do we know where we came from? And we can't really be in 2 places at the same time, can we? So if we're going to go there, we got to leave the Earth. And if we leave the Earth, well, how do we know where we are? Oh my God. Well, we got to go back to nature here. So we understand that with the interaction of 2 plasmatic fields, there's an interaction of those fields. And this is totally plasmatic, which means you can't see it. Non-tangible, non-visible. Is it there? Well, it has to be there, because if you're here, you have to know where you came from, right? And if you're taking your physical body is constructed of the elements of this planet, which is Earth, and that is a unique thing. So if we're taking these unique constructs on Earth and we want to maintain them intact, then we have to maintain that connection. Because if we go somewhere else, if we don't have this connection, then we will be something else, right? So now we have to have a reference point. And so this is as between the sun and the earth, as between the man's universe and the sister universe. Now we have a reference point from our source of inspiration. And now we come to the crux of the problem. And this is what we discussed Friday night. if our tiny perfect world is only part and parcel of man's universe and its relationship to the sister universe, and we have a problem on this planet, which is a sickness, and we're not going to call it the coronavirus, we're going to call it self-serving at the expense of others. This is unheard of in the universe. So what happens as a result, because of the connection between what we're doing and what's going on in the universe, our malady here is reflected in the malady in our sister universe. And as a result, we're not allowed to go out. We're under quarantine. Just the same way as the government has taken our laws and our rights away. And so we're locked down and we have to wear masks and we have to be socially distant. Okay, why? Because there's a sickness on this planet. And we know what the cure is. We know what the cure is. How do we do this? We know that if we become self-serving at the enhancement of others, things will be different. So this is the answer to the Brazilian dilemma. And it was very interesting that they would have brought it up on Friday because it wasn't done by one person, it was done by at least 3 people. And they all collectively got together and they figured out the problem is not the virus. The problem is not the government. The problem is that we have a solution and we're not taking it. So if we continue to go on the lowest energy level, which we know is the physicality, then we are limited and we are limited to this structure. So what do we have to do? We have to enhance, we have to elevate, our soul, right? Because our soul is what's causing the problem to this earth. The earth is a perfect place. The earth's soul was so perfect that we decided to come here. Well, great. But who is the coronavirus on earth? I think it's us. All right. And what is our problem? Well, maybe we're missing something. So, and this is where the soul teachings are taking us. And then if we look at the soul of man and the physicality of man, now we see a similarity in construct between the soul of man and the soul of the body and the sun and the earth. We see a similarity there. So what do we want to do? We would like to elevate our souls. Why? Because that enlists energy transfer at a higher order of magnitude. So we would need to elevate our souls. That's what we're doing here in the middle. We're trying to elevate our souls. And if we elevate our souls, we start to liberate and elevate the souls of our source. And if we understand now that the construct of the sun and the earth is a magnetical gravitational relationship with the soul, and the interaction of the plasmatic fields of the sun and the earth is a magnetical gravitational construct of the soul. Some are visible, some are tangible, some are invisible, some are non-tangible. All of them are constructs. They have a plasmatic support structure. We have a plasmatic support structure. Our universe has a plasmatic support structure, and our source of our inspiration has a plasmatic support structure. Now we have a reference point, and now we have the basis. When fields interact, something else happens. Now we have a dynamic plasma condition. Now we have common ground. You see, we are physical. We have a unique capability of being physical on this planet, enjoy the beauties of this planet, and as such, we have a responsibility to this planet. And when we get our act together, then we can communicate with the rest of the universe. We have always been communicating with the rest of the universe. And the universe has always been communicating with us. It's just that we don't want to listen. Well, the problem with the universe, of course, is that they're working on a higher energy level. And they don't want to come into this physical manifestation. Not necessarily. Some do, though. But generally speaking, most don't. So in order for us to communicate with them, we have to find a common ground. And when we find that common ground, and we will find that common ground when we elevate our souls. So if we elevate our souls, they have to lower their souls, right? But there is a common ground, there's an overlapping, there's an interacting of plasmatic fields. And these plasmatic fields are created through a plasmatic substructure. And if we want our ticket to freedom, we better understand that our tiny little perfect world has to do with giving and taking, and how we give and take, and where we give and take from. So we have to know that there's more above and there's more below. And it's easy at the below part because we're already down there, and our responsibility is to this earth. This earth has a soul, and that soul is crying. It is crying. It's saying, hey guys, get with it, get with the program. It's not working. You want scientific evidence? Let me tell you about scientific evidence. We don't have, in conventional science, a way to eradicate the virus. There's your scientific evidence. The new scientific evidence, we have a way to eradicate the virus in 95% of the conditions. So the question is, are you giving and taking energy from the old science, or giving and taking energy from the new science? And if we're going to use the new science to give and take energy from, to get rid of the virus, why stop there? Why not enjoy the universe the way man is intended? So we see in Arizona, we're looking at the new space center that is coming. And what is our problem? It isn't the virus, it's the way we conduct and exchange energy, because we have no ethics. We've heard the complaints loud and clear, the least of which is those who are complaining about the masks. You have to understand that in this universe, the rules that we play by on this earth do not work in the universal community. So give it up. In the universal community, ethics matters. And ethics in the new equation of relativity, to me, is the morality times the compassion and the courage. Morality in how you conduct yourself, the compassion for your fellow human being, whether they're horizontal or vertical or otherwise, and the courage to believe in your convictions. And how do you get that courage? You get that courage through the verification and validation, where you have, on a grassroots level, able to look after your own health. That is a universal law. You look after the health of your family, you look after the health of your community, and from there we grow, okay, regardless of what's going on. So whether or not the KF Plasma Scientific Journal is translated in Portuguese or Arabic or English or whatever, that is irrelevant. It is there. It is scientific proof. Use it, love it. That's what they're doing. So we have some communities that are taking charge. We need to take charge of our own and grow that way. Create your own magnetical gravitational field force, give it a soul, and watch it grow. But I would like you all to remember Elvis Presley. He had a song, Return to Sender, Address Unknown. No such number. And no such phone. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Alex. Are you going to go out and come back in? Or are you
Yes, I
staying?
am. No,
Okay.
I just I'm gonna go make some cold coffee.
Okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay,
Please.
I'll put up the background. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Everyone has a microphone. There must be a few people with some thoughts or questions that you've been thinking about perhaps this week since the last meeting, if you were here last Sunday. Maybe something about whatever's on your mind. This is an open discussion. So feel free to open your microphone and put something up on the table. When one magnet moves, the others will move.
Hi, this is Dr. Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I think Alex makes a very important point, is that that the trouble that we're having is essentially convincing other people of the truth. And I've noticed with this pandemic, there's a lot of problems with people accepting the truth. Some people don't even believe that the virus is even real. Some people believe that masks are harmful. Some people believe that masks are helpful. There's just all kinds of misinformation out there, and no one knows who to believe or what to believe. And this is part of the problem why the scientific paper hasn't gained much traction. And at the same time, we look out throughout history, people have always been very slow to accept the truth. One famous example is Dr. Semmelweis. He was a doctor, I think, around the 1700s or so. He discovered that if you do autopsies in the morgue and then you deliver babies without washing your hands, mothers and babies would die. He realized that if you washed your hands before delivering a baby, then mothers and babies would survive. He started to tell his colleagues about this. You should wash your hands. He got thrown into jail. I believe he died there. I don't know how many years later, they finally understood that, yeah, it really is a good idea to wash your hands after doing an autopsy in the morgue. And there's so many other examples of this throughout history. There's a story that I read that when the Wright brothers were developing the airplane, there was a group of high-level military officers in Washington and basically declared that air flight was impossible. At the same time, the Wright brothers and Kitty Hawk were flying their plane. But eventually people started to understand that planes take flight. So this is the problem I think that we're having, is that how do you elevate the souls of people to recognize the truth? And I certainly don't have any answers for that. And I wish there was some way that we could do to accelerate that process. As far as it seems to be a lot of people who aren't taking this virus seriously. One of my friends had an idea that might make them take it more seriously. Part of the problem is that when the virus first came out, we were all told it would affect older people in nursing homes, for instance. So a lot of people didn't seem to care about that. If the mutation that Mr. Kesh describes that will start affecting children, people are going to start paying more attention, especially the mothers, because when children start to get involved, people start to pay attention. So, I mean, and sadly, if children actually start to die from this virus, many more people will start to take this more seriously. I hate to say that that's probably the truth, but this is what it's going to take there. So that's a sort of my perspective on what the issue is just basically how do you get people to understand the truth? And this is not a new problem in the history of mankind.
Well, Mr. Kesh has said that people would not accept this technology out of the love of it, but out of the fear of their own demise. And again, it's up to the soul, as we saw the woman in New York who got sucked through the window and got stuck. Her soul made that decision to do that. And so I like to leave it up to the souls. As Mr. Kesh said, many souls will leave as their part of convincing the planet that this technology is needed, that this is how they're going to sacrifice themselves to make that point. And it's up to the soul. Again, you can share this with someone and their soul probably understands it, because this is all what we're doing here is leading up. The knowledge we're sharing is leading up to the knowledge of the soul, the understanding of the soul. So the soul knows this. And that's the way I'm looking at this, that I leave it up to the soul to decide. Yes, I would like everybody to drain the energy from the virus if they have it, but it's up to the soul of the man to decide. The gift is here.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So what that means ultimately is probably a good chunk of a huge percentage of the souls on this planet are basically deciding to leave in the next few years. And it's certainly just frustrating for those of us who know better, but you're probably right. That's probably the way things are supposed to play out.
The way I have been looking.
Go ahead.
Oh, excuse me, Mark. Go ahead.
No, please, Ed.
The way I have started looking at it is, I'm in full agreement with you, but about people are not taking it seriously. But you know, I kind of am not taking it personally anymore. That I can't make people take it seriously. And long story short, I think the only way we can elevate other people is to elevate ourselves. We've tried as much as we can. We're meeting with, we just don't know what to do. So the only thing we are able to do, it seems, is to work on ourselves. And I use the word work. That's probably not the correct term, but I think maybe you get my drift. We need to elevate our own selves and continue to elevate our working with the knowledge and our understanding of the knowledge. And Mark has said that, you know, this has to work on the soul level. That's the only way I know how to work on the soul level, honestly. I don't know how to project my soul or anything. I do know, though, that when I'm ready and other people are ready, the door's open. I've seen that in my life continuously, and I've grown very confident of that. And when somebody just recently, I mean, several people I share with about the coronavirus and the advancements that are being made and stuff, pretty quickly there's just like a curtain that falls down over the eyes, and they don't pay attention much anymore. There was a young man that I talked to, a week or so ago, and it was the exact opposite. He wanted to know so much more, and we ended up having to cut our conversation short because we had to get out of the grocery store. But that's just an example of that. When the doors are open and they're ready, then what you have to give is easily received. And I found myself being able to share with him things that I had forgotten that I knew, just because there was a hunger there to know things. In my community here, school is opening. I'm in a major university here in the state. And initially there was a lot of trepidation because of all the students coming back, but now everybody's coming back. They're getting the new housing. They're preparing with all kinds of new testing protocols, and everybody's busy preparing. And they just seem, there's an uptick in the mental status. Nobody's really all that concerned about, I mean, they vocalize being concerned about the virus, but everybody's really happy that students are back and money's being made and preparations are being made and stuff like that. So there is not a great need within the individuals as far as dealing with the virus. It is slowly on the rise in our community according to the statistics, but it's not bad enough that the common majority of the populace is taking notice. So at any rate, those are the comments that I had to make, for whatever they're worth.
Oh, they're worth a lot. And how do you elevate your soul? By giving to the others. And you don't have to physically give. You can give through your soul. And in turn, that comes back to you to elevate your own soul. So yes, I see a lot of schools want to open. Again, I don't think they'll receive the federal funds unless they do. But putting all students or children in a school does not seem, at this point, does not seem efficacious. But I guess they're going to go along with it. Otherwise, they won't receive their funding from the government, the federal government, to have a budget for a school per se, or the maintenance that goes along with it. Thank you, James.
I want to echo what Mark just said. And Ed, I want to thank you very much for your comments, because that's the reason I made the presentation the way I made it, is because this conversation is so very un-North American. I was really impressed with this conversation coming up with the Brazilian community, because they have the cups, they have the numbers. So when they look at our numbers here in North America, we have about around 200 people on the Telegram, and Brazil's around 3,400, but in Iran it's over 100,000. So wherever we are, we can do more. And how do we go? It would be great. It would be great if we are in North America, we had the kind of numbers that Brazil has. But it would be great in Brazil if they had the kind of numbers that Iran has. And so that's their dilemma. And they brought up that conversation. So, for what it's worth, Ed, it's worth a lot, as Mark said, because this is the conversation that we have to talk about. So now, Mark, you brought up a point, or you accentuated a point anyway, that was brought up, and that is, how are we going to spread this out to others? So what is going to change? We're in August. What's going to change in September, and what's going to change in October? Okay, so here's the crux of the problem. Why has Mr. Kesh gone ahead with the soul teachings? So one of the reasons, of course, is so that it gives us the kind of ammunition that we need, pardon the expression, to convey this message. The other thing is, in September, kids will be going back to school. And I guarantee you, within days, there will be problems. So rather than stopping them going back to school, at which point we become the lightning rod, let them do their thing. Okay, if you think what they're doing is right, and if you think what they're doing is conscionable, that's not for us. That is their problem. And then in October, one more problem, we're going to have food shortage. Okay, so all of this is interlinked. So we have a view of the present, we have to have a view of the future. And the view in between is we all have to protect ourselves from the virus. And I hope and I believe that we all have done that to a certain extent, and we need to increase that. But what we really have to do is we have to prepare ourselves with all the tools that we need, because it's only going to get worse at this point in time before it gets better. I've seen Keaton want to come on. Did you want to come on, Keaton?
Go ahead. I muted his mic. I didn't know if it was open inadvertently.
Oh, okay. But this is the point, this is the discussion that we have to have, because I don't care what business that you're running, if you don't have customers, you're going to have a business. And this is what it boils down to. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a restaurant owner, and a guy comes in and he's yelling at you at the top of his lungs how you are violating his right to using a mask. And, you know, I wear a mask and I don't need a mask, and I have a mask at the front door. I don't have a mask in my chair. You know what? Is the virus gone? All these stupid arguments. All the guy is doing, the restaurant owner, is complying with the government's mandate. And the government's mandate is enforced with the emergency condition. And it's astounding to me that people don't understand the legality. What is an emergency condition and what is normal times? So, you know, we just had that on the news again. For those of you who missed it, in the Northwest Territories, they renewed their emergency condition. Okay, it lasts for 10 to 14 days, depending on which territory you're in. And the government can invoke this emergency condition. And at that point in time, you and everything about you becomes part of the community effort. So then the question becomes, how much of it do they want to impose on you? And if you're so stupid during an emergency to go out and drive at double the speed limit to show off to your friends, that's, you know, you're missing the point. And this is one of the things that I was very unhappy about last week, is because we now had the treatment for the virus, but I don't think we've learned our lesson. So I think in September, and it may take till October, we're going to learn our lesson the hard way. But I can't wait that long. We're working at this point in time to take care of business now. I'm trying to figure out how are we going to deal. Well, let's look at the number one problem that I have right now is in Manitoba, we have thousands of people who are in trouble. I think it's going to be one of the biggest hotspots. Where we're seeing in British Columbia that the number of cases has increased suddenly. Isn't that something? Just suddenly, just like out of the blue, eh? Suddenly. None of this China virus thing, and you know, it's just suddenly. It wasn't there, now it's there. It's magic, eh? Yeah. And what are we going to do about it? Because what we've done about it up until now is contain it, but we've never done anything about it, not really. So, and if the virus has mutated to the point where it is extremely lethal, those who are still playing by the old rules of 14-day quarantine and, you know, after 14 days, maybe I'll be a free man again. Well, we don't have 14 days. So,
Can I come in with 4 points? I'm done, Romania.
please go ahead.
Okay, regarding the mask, the problem is not the mask. The problem is not the virus, because the virus learning for us is a good thing, my point of view, because with this virus, no, you're learning to share, to care to the others. No, because in this manner, you're making the cup, spread the knowledge, with this paper, how to say, with Mr. Kesh giving, saying translate in any language and spread it. Why spread it? Because you have the solution for the virus. Your concern is why it's not applicable, why is the confidence. How many knowledge seekers have the problem? Few or zero? Because it's confident, is making or is not making, but is knowing about the plasma, the fields, the cups, the consciousness of the soul. This is that it's confidence. We spread it to the others for being confident in self. I don't say it's not virus not exist. I know it exists. Many people dying from other cause or from the virus. I agree. I don't have the problem. It's the way in the government, the medicine systems, who is putting the problem in what manner? The information from the people. One doctor saying it's good, but taking the mask for protect. Yes. Another part, it's writing from the mask is not protect from the COVID-19 because it's a virus, it's the dimension, blah blah blah. The other things is why taking the we in, for example, in the Romania and another place is making the law for obligativity for carrying the mask. Yes, I am agree. Sometimes I carry my mask in my face for make confidence to other souls, to other people surround me. The other way, I don't for taking this mask with me. Why? Because I have not the instance. In this law, you have always the doors and the windows. In our laws, for example, saying who make the effort and working the high temperature, I already have the doors open, no, for not carrying the mask. It's not carrying or not carrying the mask. It's how it's putting the problem because it's only half the coin. It's not the other side of coin. It's, the people is confused because you don't have the information what is good, what is result, what is the purpose, what is the everything say, oh, for your healthy. Okay, I agree. From I don't know 30 years, you don't care my health, and in these few months, you say, oh, making the law is a situation of urgent emergency. You need to make that. Okay, but always you have the brain think or with your soul thinking is good for me. I am comfortable without breaking the law. No, it's point of view because Mr. Kesh saying spread it the knowledge. Okay, you have the solution. Okay, reach the others for how to say for rise of soul, no, for elevation of souls by understanding. Yes, all my life when I sneeze, when I cough, I put my hand in front of my nose, of my mouth. My problem is not carrying the mask or not. It's how it's making this law. This is the one point. The other point with the translation in many language. For many years, Mr. Kesh, we give step by step, no? Offer this knowledge, prepare the route, the way. For what reason? For achieve this knowledge and now starting to giving the other knowledge and the other knowledge, never ending. And the third point regarding the school, for example, no? Or shortage of food, or for me, this virus, I learning give to the others, have the cure for the others, compassion, not only for me. And for giving in the way of, yes, giving. More you give, more you receive, for more giving. Okay, I stop and thank you.
I wanted to raise one point. I sent the report to a friend and I had an email back from her today. Well, what about the number of people who are infected in Iran? There needs to be something coming out of Iran on the media side showing the world what is going on there. Because when we, as a small group, put this out, people are a little bit skeptical. It needs to be that Iran also puts out in their media, in English, in other languages, in their own language, so that it's out there. And this is, I think, what we've been waiting for a long time.
Yvonne,
Yes.
you have such a beautiful speaking voice. Would you mind reading what Anton put into the chat if you can see it?
Just
It's
a
from
second.
workshop 340. And again, Mr. Kesh is saying with these cups, a lot of us have missed it again.
From Anton Butcher. If
Yes,
man understands the sweetness of existence, life is part of, I presume, the process of creation, and in process of creating, mankind will understand the love and the patience of the Creator.
Yvonne, could you start a little before that, or maybe you weren't here and it's not in your chat?
It might not be in my chat because I came in late. I was doing something.
Okay. Would someone like to read the first two paragraphs and let Yvonne finish, where if man understands the sweetness of existence?
Wait a minute, I'm scrolling up. I've got another one from him. From the last KF 340, the only criteria is to ask
Yes.
for what you want, and the asking is pure. You shall receive. Ask what you want to create. You want to create the most beautiful flower in understanding the process of creation. You will be given. Because, just a minute. Because you will be given the knowledge to create it, not that you fall in your lap. By asking, you create the knowledge of love. It's a giving of your existence. If you go back to all the teachings over years, I always say, and I repeat again, you ask, I want to show your beauty, that we see in your beauty, it makes and elevates my soul to give more. And if that request is pure, it shall be answered yes, as by receiving you dedicate yourself to give more. That's why when you ask in that manner, for my pleasure to be able to elevate, you will be given what you ask, because the soul will decide in the process of the creating of that love and that giving. When the Creator creates that condition, the interaction of the fields of the universe create that entity for him to be able to give more. And that's one of the reason and cornerstones of the expansion of the unit course, the love of giving, to be able to give more. I made you to have children, that they love me. It's in the holy books. As I receive more what you created, that I can create more with the love I received. The knowledge is beautiful when the man understands the totality. Now we understand, hopefully, the totality of and now we understand how we will elevate our own soul, our own understanding in so many ways. We will understand the totality of it. Maybe in the future, mankind will come to understand the total process of creation, of being created, and become part of the creator in the process of creation. And maybe as the man's intelligence grows and expands, mankind will become mature in the process of understanding, to understand the creation, to understand the love of creator, to understand life is sweet. That's the first one. Does somebody want to take the second?
If man understands the sweetness of existence, live is part of the process of creation, and in process of creating, mankind will understand the love and the patience of the Creator. Mankind will come to be part of and total understanding of what the Creator goes through. That in the time when man becomes the Creator, he becomes just, he becomes point of love and point of understanding, and maybe one day man creates as the Creator said, in the image of himself. Those who carry the ethos of him, the understanding of him, the process of the creation of him, and maybe then man understands one point. Now we understand the teaching of Zoroaster. Think good, do good, and act good. Thank you, Anton, and thank you, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
So it's in this giving that is going to create a position of change when we all start to give. And again, Mr. Kesh has given gifts and we've given them back to him, told him they don't work. So it's in the giving, not so much whether they receive it or not.
So there is one fundamental difference between what's going on in Iran and what's going on in Brazil, let's say. And that is that they have the government blessing in Iran. And we don't have that here, that's for sure, in North America. So the point is going to come, as Yvonne brought up, you know, we're not getting the feedback. Well, it's only been a few days. And the thing is, there's going to be more information coming this week. So yeah, indirectly, we didn't get a lot of feedback on Thursday, maybe that we were hoping for. But what you have to know is that it's just like when you plant a seed. You don't see anything happen for a while, then all of a sudden something starts to happen. Or if you look at a plant and it's kind of dormant, and then you say, well, I don't see anything going on. And that's the same thing with the plasmatic field. The plasmatic field has to achieve its dynamics. It has to achieve its dynamic condition to be able to manifest. There is no predetermination that it has to manifest in a physical state. So we understand that emotion is not a physical state. It has a unique point in that it has a physical effect. But you can't bag emotion. And you can't bag your mind. And you can't bag your soul. and you can't bag the plasma energy. And this is where science is confounded, because the verification and validation that is required through scientific discovery is for the benefit of the commercialization of the intellectual property rights, which they've been stealing left, right, and center. So we see the way that the system has been going has not been working, so we've tried something different. So I submit to you that every day from now on, there are going to be new revelations. We know what the game is, and this is why I'm saying we're going to reach a major catastrophe, I predict, in September. And not because I'm looking in a crystal ball, but, you know, kids will be kids. And if, you know, adults are acting stupidly and protesting the masks, which even as Bella said, well, the masks are indication of a consideration, but the masks are also an indication of the legality of the situation. So these people who are protesting have neither the consideration and nor the education with respect to their legal rights. And I would be all for the anti-maskers, because the cause of the mask is really the virus. But they actually don't even believe that there is a virus. So they're seeing it as a no, never mind. Well, I have to draw your attention to what's going on in Australia. They've, you know, if you're protesting a mask situation, why don't you protest a lockdown where you can't get out of your house after 6 o'clock? That would be something worthwhile protesting. So I think we have to pick and choose what we're going to protest to. That's the point that I'm coming at right now. So we have a basis where we have government support and one country who is moving ahead. The onus now is on the neighboring countries to look and say, my neighbor is cleaning up his country. Am I going to continue with this problem, or am I going to do the same thing? The other neighbor is saying, well, you know, we're going to ignore the solution. And I'm saying, you're going to have blood in your hands, okay, because people are still dying. So you can be as pig-headed as you want, but you're going to have to bear the consequences of that. So if the leaders don't want to lead, they need to step aside. And we need to prepare ourselves not only to assist them, but in failing to assist them, we need to replace them. And failing to replace them, then we have to act on our own. So the situation, if we look at August and we compare the situation to when, you know, when did the lockdown start? March, April? We're in worse shape, because now, you know, they're talking about a second wave. Well, when you talk about a second wave, that implies that there'll be a third wave. There is no second wave. We're still on the first wave, and the first wave will be the last wave, okay? Because the virus has mutated so often, it's still the same virus. It's just manifesting itself differently in different people based on the environmental condition. You know, it's funny, exactly the same way cancer is. So now we have a new understanding. We understand how the virus works, we understand how the plasma works, and we understand how we work and that we have a deficiency. So what's been exposed for us anyway is that there is something, as perfect as we are, there's something less than perfect about us. And so we have an opportunity now. Maybe the virus is actually going to teach us a lesson. And so this is getting back to a key point. How do you teach those who don't want to be taught? And so the great thinkers in our history have always come up with these grandiose questions, and they make great reading. They're great for studying in the university, but now we have these philosophical problems affecting us in our real life. So now we have to translate our learning into practicality. And this is going to be the biggest challenge. And don't be dismayed by this challenge, because when you look at every revolution, and let's talk about the Industrial Revolution or the Computer Revolution, they were game changers. They changed the way we conducted business. Well, the plasma science is going to change it also. And there's no putting the jack in the box back in the box. It's out, it's all over. It itself is spreading like a virus. Don't tell me that someone who has brought the health back of their family is going to fall back and say, okay, well, now that we got the virus back, you know, I'll be very happy to be locked down and, you know, go into quarantine. There's no going back. We got to go forward. I would really, yeah, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, I ran across something this week called the Deagle Report or the Daigle Report. I had never heard of it, but apparently it's subscribed to or by many intelligence agencies, the NSA or so on and so forth. It predicted the population of the United States to be 100 million by 2025. So for those who don't believe it's real, you can ask them to read the report.
Yeah, well, you know, again, the report is kind of like a prophecy, and the prophecy assumes that we're not going to do anything in the process. So, Ed, do you have a comment on that?
Just reopen your mic, Ed, please.
Okay, I don't know where I got cut out. I was just waiting for a good time to chime in. I didn't want to interrupt any train of thoughts. But addressing just something you said recently, Alex, the great philosophical question, how do you teach somebody that doesn't want to be taught? When you said that, I was like, you cannot teach somebody who doesn't want to be taught. There is no connection there. There's no receptivity. So I mean, I just don't think that's possible. You can try, but it's like beating your head against a wall, and there is no reception. They may mouth agreement, but it will make no internal difference. So I think there has to be that internal receptiveness to make the connection for anything to really happen. I wanted to address as well Yvonne and Alex's comment about the response coming out of Iran. I'm aware that as well that there's not, and I know that it wasn't meant this way, but I'm sure it isn't for lack of trying. We know that so much is going on in Iran. They're spilling their hearts out over there trying, and we know that the hospitals are now all opening up. It's all happening on the civil side. Alex, you said the government is behind it, but I think the way the government is structured in Iran, there's the civil side, the Khomeini, the Ayatollah, and he is behind the technology 100%. But then there's the president, and I know that there's a lot of motion going on over there with a lot of the Iranian government crying for his resignation and stuff like that. So we know there's a ton of stuff going on over there, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before the dam breaks, because they keep pushing and pushing and more doors keep opening up. And the way I look at it is, I know that's going to happen, but I'm not so concerned about it's not happening right now, because it is going to happen. But I'm more concerned when it happens, am I going to be ready? Am I going to be ready with my understanding of the knowledge? Mr. Kesh is going forward in his teachings on Thursday. He's taking us further and further with the cups, teaching us how to feed ourselves in the event that the food shortage happens. As Mark said, did you say September, Mark, or something? Is that what he mentioned?
No, October.
I think that was Alex.
Oh, October, whenever it is. Time doesn't matter, but that's something that may definitely be coming. And are we going to be able to deal with that on a plasmatic level ourselves? Because one of the major premises in my life is that I can't give what I don't have. And I want to be able to know that I know within myself that I have the ability to deal with whatever is coming. And so for me, that's the way to elevate my soul, not to be trying so hard to fulfill a responsibility to let the world know or save the world or whatever, but to myself understand on a basic inner level that I can handle what is about to come or is going to come. And then, because when I am at that level, when I know that I can do it for myself, I have no problem giving it to others when the door's open. It's a piece of cake. It just happens. I don't have to try. And I think that that's what's going to come.
Yeah, I so agree with you. So look at the schedule, what's going to happen in Austria at the end of the month, and why everybody's pushing so hard to get this done. Wherever we are now, we're going to be miles ahead, in a couple of weeks. And as I said, the third trimester of the school starts a month from now. We're not on holidays. We're all working as hard as we can in the meantime, and the education hasn't stopped. What has changed is that we don't have the luxury of teaching people anew. How do we do 3-4 years of teaching in a matter of days? So I'm hoping that these seminars that I'm doing are accomplishing that, because I'm trying to cover both grounds. And if you can't progress down the line, well, that's nothing wrong with that. But if you understand how energy is exchanged, and if you understand then why you go to sleep and what happens when you go to sleep, and you understand that the creation of this planet is done in advance, because that's how planning is done. Planning is always done in advance. So the soul of man dictates to the soul of the body, and the soul of the body will manifest, because the soul of the planet will agree. If the soul of the planet doesn't agree, well, you will know.
Alex, I think a lot more needs to be put in place for the future. Not only on the health side, but also on the energy side. You've just mentioned food on so many different levels. I saw somebody, I think it was yesterday, asking for help to do something here. Don't know the chap, sent him a private message. And this isn't the first time I've sent him a private message. And he's just ignoring. But I don't know what his ethos is, whether it's foundation oriented or just somebody who's out to make a buck.
The Brazilian communities run into the same problem, and it's mystifying why people are doing this. But when I look at the extent of the organization, let's say the anti-masks are the extent of their organization, because to me, when you think of a little doily as being something that I would want to drive miles to and join a protest, you got to be kidding. Like, I have more important things to do, and one of them is maybe to watch TV. That would even be more important. The thing is that the indignation is misplaced. And so how do they achieve that? I'm thinking it's got to be well organized, because we are well organized and we're having trouble getting the numbers up. So like right now we have 45 participants here. I'm sure each of us has talked to maybe 10 people this week. Well, you know, why don't we have 450 participants here? So the answer is that the way we organize ourselves is on a willing basis, on a gracious basis. So you cannot force someone to learn. They have to want to do that. They have to open, allow, yield, and receive. And our society is not built on that. Our society is take, 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 and you know, I'm better than you, and I will make sure that you understand that, because the more you have, the more I want to take from you. So in business, for instance, one of the things that I've done, and you know, it may seem a little bit comical to you, but like for instance, one of the large department stores, one of the big box stores, they like to put out their advertising, and they get their deliveries every 10 days. So when they put out their advertising, they put it out before they get their delivery. So I make sure that I'm there at the time they get their delivery, and I clean them out. And I only clean them out of the one thing. And the reason I do that is because for 10 days they have to give out rain checks. And then they have to bring it in, but this product is seasonal. So when they bring it in, you know, it may not be as much as of the demand. But I have taken their product and I have resold it. And I have made a nice, handsome profit. So actually, I'm using my competitor, the big boy, as my supplier. And I'm using his game against him. And it works on a small scale. So through their own words, they will be exposed. They can't hide all the things. You can hear about the big bangs that are going around the world. They don't want to talk about that today, because that is highly negative, and there are people who are far more qualified talking about this, and they know how to do that. But I tell you what, Elvis Presley is definitely coming back, and that's what it's going to take. So, you know, the other thing that you have to know is that the universal community is working on a higher plane. So they have orders of magnitude higher energy force fields that are at work, and they will definitely prevail. It's just the law of the universe. You can't lie, cheat, steal, and murder in the universal community. It isn't so much that those violate universal laws. It's just that before you do anything, you have to emit the intention. And if they receive that intention, which they do because that's how they're trained, and if you are in contact with someone who wants to lie, cheat, and steal from you and murder you, you're not going to hang around. So when we go out into outer space, we don't see anything because they don't want us. They don't accept us. So that's our problem. We have to fix our problem. But our problem is also affecting them in many, many ways. And I think they've reached the limit of their tolerance. We've come to the point where we can destroy this planet. We have the technology to do that. And that is not something to brag about. So this is one of the reasons why we've had this technology for a long time, and why we've survived here is because we've had help all along. But to overcome this last mountain, we're going to have lots of help, okay? Because there's a schedule, a time schedule, and everything has to come out, and it will come out in due course in a timely fashion. You just have to have a confidence in that role. But because the soul is the creator, then that's has to come first. So if we all have the trust and the belief and the understanding of how our soul operates, we will see the manifestation and the results of our good work. And we are already seeing it, okay? Because if anyone comes to me, and I understand Ed's problem, because I have the same problem, but if anyone comes to me and asks me for help, it's very simple. You just have to draw some water, and give it to them, and give them the protocol as we have in the KF Wiki. And at least one thing there, we can buy them the time that they need to survive and in the process learn. And this is how we got to do it. We got to do it at the grassroots level. And we put the pressure from the grassroots level, and we put the pressure from the government level. When those two fields come together, we will have the kind of plasmatic condition that we need to fix up our planet. Don't forget, the sun and the planet have a say in this whole thing too, and they're not pleased.
Hello. Salam, namaste. Alex? Hello?
Shweta, I'm so glad you joined. Could you just do it a little bit louder, please?
Okay. Can you hear me now louder?
Okay. Yes, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Salam, namaste, salute. I want to say that uh, if Mother Earth is a biological being, I will not say if. Mother Earth is a biological being, then we are the virus. The energy is attached to her. So then, Mother Earth is ascending, becoming the sun. We are ascending too. Yes, the coronavirus, the energy has came. As we have created the poison, she has added into it. Drink it. You have created it. Drink it. Are you letting go of these things, of this illusion or not? Of these bad, good, and ugly energies or not? I am here to satisfy you with all my ideas. Then a courageous soul stands with the energy of, here in India we call Shakti, the power of the Devi. And she stands up and says, no, I am ascending with the mother. So there is no way you can come, but I give love to you. And the coronavirus, the energy says, okay, go ahead. I am here for the ignorant and for the unfaithful and for the ugly. So then this destruction is going on, and it will be. We have to understand the Shakti, the power given to us by the universal love. As you said, Alex, Elvis is back. Then I can say, then I can fall in love with you. This is what I want to say, that the power, the Shakti is within us, and Mother Earth is ascending to being the sun, the soul again, and we are too. And the corona, the energy is here to teach a lesson, of course, about the ignorance, the accomplices, all that have created the poison. And now, from the galactic view, she's adding into it. And this is, and mankind, this is out of comprehension. Mankind cannot cope with it. And we have, Keshe Foundation has this solution. But people are not understanding. I have also tried. People are not listening. Because, and then the ascenders will ascend, mother will ascend, and the left will suffer as they are suffering. So this is how this illusion will go on for many, and many will see the light and are in this process are in the light. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alex. Always you have given me the knowledge. You always repeat, I always learn. You know, Alex, you always repeat, I always learn. And I always understand more. Thank you. Thank you for every knowledge, every message. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dan, Ed, everybody attending. Thank you. Salam. Namaste.
Please don't go away.
Oh, no, I'm not. I will never.
That I think you brought a tear to all of our eyes. Shweta, that is so beautiful. I don't know if everyone has heard your story, but I know that it's been very, very difficult.
Yes.
Why I want to focus on is that since the virus has come and the lockdown has happened, I mean, even before that, we had a lot of problems on the domestic level, uh, marriage breakups, and all sorts of uh, business breakups, arguments. Let's call them arguments, disagreements have happened, but they have really been accentuated during the coronavirus. So, you know, it only stands to reason that if you're in a confined area with people, and if there is any friction, that friction gets amplified. The part that
So
I'm alluding to is where I have never and never will understand a man beating a woman. But you know, this is a reality in our society, and I think it's been exacerbated by the lockdown. We have a lot of people who are trying to provide uh, shelters for the homeless, shelters for well, for women who are coming from broken marriages. And I was wondering, what um, are you doing any work in that regard?
uh, for now, I I live with my mother, and I am not living with the guy I loved. I married, and because of his violent conduct. But then
Oh, geez, I
he
didn't know
didn't
that.
hear. But then what has happened, Alex? In the long term, I I enlightened with this knowledge. There was guides, there was the Creator's love, and then I came to know all you people. I then landed in Kesha Foundation, and I signed the peace treaty. And the peace treaty, I was amazed by seeing this peace treaty. It was a paper, and me type of person who have no status, a housewife, can sign it. No, no legal, no nothing, no registration. And that was the happiest moment I have been. And I immediately signed with two witnesses I have in my house. They helped me in my work. And I told them why I'm signing it. And I signed it. And then peace came around. I understood what the peace was, is, and then I am in. So that is what happened. And all along, with all beautiful souls, I walked. And with the knowledge of my Messiah, I love, I love him. We all love him so much, I know. He has taught us how to feel the love, how to feel the peace, how to be with the Creator, how to be. And in this physicality, we call it technology. But we don't have to call it a technology. It's all in us. We are the technology. We are moving technology as interaction with the universal community. Just we have to be good, as said. We have to be good. We have to be truthful. We have we don't have to cheat. That is it. And then we are the Shakti, the power of all the energies of these but valuable beings. So this is how my Messiah Shriman Mehran Tavalokikesh has all together united all of us in this beautiful energy. And we are here, all, all of us, same. Because in this illusion, in this, I will say, in this physicality, uh, uh, when I said about this technology, about the tops, and I am also an antisocial type of person in this physicality. Most people don't like me, but then I came with beings, those who love me, those souls, though they love me, like you, like Peggy, like Mark, like Johan, like Ethan, like everybody, you know. So this is the energy we gained, and this is the power of the Shakti I have been through. And I forgot the pain, the physical suffering I have been through. So, and I have a lot of love to give. This is the way I've attained this thing. And I understand the technology that is so simple. And I am making the cups. I am giving the guns water. I'm giving the guns to somebody. That is the beautiful thing, in this universe. And as Mother Earth is ascending, we are ascending too. Except we have to accept that. Ascension is a word mythical people have used, sadhus have used, but this is explainable now with this plasma technology, how it can be done. This is what I want to say. The, so this is the love I attained to give now. Thank you, Alex, for letting me talk. I also love Elvis Presley's song, and even Frank Sinatra also. They are beautiful songs. So anybody can fall in love anytime. So this is what happens. Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't know that aspect of the story. Wow. Shweta, you have another problem that we don't have here, and that is the caste system.
Yes, yes.
The reason I'm putting you on the spot is because, you are UC, and, you are our guiding light. You really are. But, we have to push you too.
Yeah.
And we don't have to push you that hard because you are really an inspiration. But
Yes.
we have no clue is about the caste system here in North America, and this has got to be a limiting factor in India.
Yes, it is a blockage. It is a blockage in the main artery. It's like the blockage in the main artery, and heart attack is going to happen. That is what the condition in India is. If it is not India. It was not India. It was this caste system was given to us by all these Mahatmas, these gurus, following the Greco-Roman, the British sects. uh, th- there was nothing like that before. There were peaceful people living with each other, sharing with each other. They destroyed everything, and people accepted it. Still now, everything that the Britishers created, they worship them. They worship them as gods. And then the disaster, as the Shakti is there, the COVID is here to teach a lesson, and that is the saddest thing. Who is on the way? And she will cut the throat of the poisoner and the accomplice, both. Nobody is innocent in her eyes. So you have to learn. She will say, how you have not learned out of eons of in this vessel. You haven't learned anything. You haven't learned love, how to love. You still create the poison, and still you are taking side of the poisoner. So this is how it's happening, Alex, here. She will cut throat of everybody, those who are making it, those who have misconducted gruesomely, and then the accomplices. They will they will say, I am a good man with all the social work I have done. That doesn't work anymore. I have worshipped that and those. You have misconducted the most. You have the accomplices are the most misconducted people. I have I have still I have still experiencing that. I have my relatives. When I send them something, they send me a photo of a god or image of a god or a thing like that that take the blessing of. I have given them the knowledge to get forward, but they have shut down. So they are accomplices. And then I stopped working with them. I stopped the knowledge. I blocked them like that because they are corrupting my energy. So I blocked them. Don't touch me ever again, and don't ask me ever again. So see what will happen. So then it is what it is. As in the last meeting when Dr. Dave was saying that the doctors, he's a doctor. I respect his position, and the other doctors are just asking him about what the testimonials are and what it is. That was a big wrong approach. They must ask Dr. Dave that what is it. First, give us the knowledge. What is it exactly? Then he will go to going to tell them that this is an energy we are working on, and even we are dealing with this energy, which is dealing with all the good, bad, and ugly. She behaves like that, and then this plasma technology is supporting you as a soulmate, as a king, as a wise king. You have to be full of love, a heart. A heart full of love is very courageous. You know, be courageous. So this is how things are not working with the people physical blocking like the main artery of the heart, and then complaining, oh, this is not happening, what this plasma technology, this is a technology of the soul. They have to understand that this is not working like this, otherwise these parasites have gone to the soul level. They failed to cross the line because they are physical and corrupt. Only I will say the soul people will go ascend or elevate or enhance in our language, in plasma. So this is what I have to say. Uh, thank you. Thank
This
you.
is what I this is what I like about what you're saying is because you're not carrying the baggage. You know, we can all burden ourselves with all the baggage that we've accumulated all our lives.
Yes. Yes.
So
Of course.
we don't need to do that. Just drop the baggage and go. Which is why I
Yes.
didn't bring up the horror stories that we've seen this week, except to point out that on a medical basis we have children now that are being affected, and this is something that we predicted a long time ago. So exactly like you said, we have the technology, and that's what we need to focus on, right?
Yes. We have to focus on it. I have told many to respect, to value life, to understand what is coming, what is this coronavirus energy is. Don't celebrate like that, like cheap savages. Don't act like that. This is a misconduct. Don't do it. This is a time of transition. This is a time of, I will say, justice. Be the just. So this is how I told, but here, here in India, we have 12 months and 360 festivals. And all the festivals should be celebrated because you are a Hindu or you are a this and that. And the people are dying instantly with a heart attack, with cancer, with severe, young people are dying, and the whole world is suffering. That doesn't mean for them anything. They are even whoever you say, they are all miserable. I have been through, I have drained my energy, but now I have to protect myself also because I have to wish, I have the heart to wish for those who are innocent, really innocent in this whole world, to get up with me and to ascend. That is the way we have to go. So this is this is what we are learning. Sometimes a wise king gets weakened, but another wise king with a power comes and help that weakened wise king. Get up, stand up vertical. I am with you. So this plasma is working as the wisest king with all the kings inside us. So this is how the things are happening, and I am I am not a very I was a student of science, but then I never liked the science they taught us. So because I diverted from that, and Now the science of love, I will say this is plasma is the science of love. You have to learn how to love. We have experienced many times in our in this physical reality also this love of the creator straight coming out, the love of the mother in her eyes, the milk coming out of the mother's breast to drink, how it comes, how it comes. Nobody asks that. This is the love of the creator to immune us to get in this physicality, in this manifestation, and we forgot that. This is why we have to learn the love of the mother given for the first time. We have been through this in physicality, but now we are ascending with the mother. There is chaos, there is many things going on around us, upsetting, very upsetting, criminals, parasites, but they are good souls also. They only see to your, you see to them, see through their eyes. You are going somewhere and you can see those souls smiling at you. I have experienced that. And I know that they are there. And they have no feelings of pain and suffering anymore. So this is what, in a way, I felt and many of us are going through. And this is all I want to say for today. I will also hear a Elvis song today again. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
You are a volcano of energy, Shweta.
Yes, I believe in Shakti, the power of energy. Yes, of course.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, have you been trying to get in?
No, not really. I'm just listening, learning all the time, always present, or try to be.
For those of you who don't know, John is holding up the bottom of the continent here. He's from Argentina. So thanks for holding the fort there, John. Any advice for us up here on the northern half of the continent?
Well, there's no much advice I can give because where
Oh, John, we lost you.
for some reason or other my mic closed up. Yeah, for some reason, I was telling you where I am in the northern part of Argentina, we have no problem with the coronavirus. We sort of comply with what's been asked of us, but we could walk along the streets, go anywhere. I walk all over the place, and I don't even wear a mask. I just put the mask on whenever I go into a commercial place. But they're having it in a very bad way down in Buenos Aires, which is 1,000 kilometers from here. So that's where my two eldest children are. They're living there and they're having a heck of a time. But Argentina, in a way, is not having it in such a bad way as there you've got it in Brazil or in the States. In fact, Uruguay, which is just next to Buenos Aires, is only 50 kilometers away. They practically have had no problem whatsoever. They've managed to control it, and in fact, a lot because of our economical side of the way our country is, a lot of the big companies are transferring all their offices over to Uruguay. They have no problem whatsoever there. Uruguay is sort of the Switzerland here in South America, in the economical part side of the idea.
You heard about Liliana in Mexico?
Yes, well, she's doing a hell of a job. Well, I was up in Mexico in February with all the group there, and Liliana's doing a very nice job in the Spanish part. She and together with Esteban from Buenos Aires, they are sort of got control of all the Spanish movement.
Yes,
Because,
that's what I was.
yeah, we've been told to sort of retire in a certain way, so we're taking it a bit easier, in an easier way.
Well, the from what I'm hearing, Bolivia, Peru, Chile, they're not having the kind of luck that Uruguay is having.
Yeah, exactly. All on the Pacific side, they're having a hell of a time. Yeah. Ecuador is about the worst, and they've
Really.
been at it for about 4 months now.
So, John, what do you think is the difference in those countries? How do you compare how they're handling it? How Brazil, how the U.S. is handling it?
Well, Brazil, many of the say the president is responsible for it, the same as Donald Trump. They say, oh, it's just a flu, that's a small flu that's coming along, don't worry. And well, now they've got to cope with all this. We've been in quarantine ever since the first days of March, and it's certainly hitting us on the economical side of the whole thing.
So you are in quarantine, like your
Yeah,
country, the country.
yeah, the whole country is in quarantine, but the big quarantine is down by Buenos Aires. You got over 7 million people there around the city, and the province of Buenos Aires also is half of it is having it pretty bad. There are about 13 million people there around there, and
John,
a bad way. Yes.
can you tell me how you're making out with? You say you have family down there. How are they accepting the plasma science?
They just say, "Oh, Dad, you come along with all these funny things. Just keep going, but we don't give you much dice." And I've got my youngest daughter with me, and she sort of reacts the same way. We're the loonies that are with this. And but when they get hit, we'll see what happens. No,
Will
I'm
you?
letting everybody know, but nobody really takes it seriously until they'll get hit, I imagine.
So I think what we're seeing is the people in the outlying areas that haven't been hit as hard are taking it more seriously. See, that doesn't make sense. You're in what I would consider an outlying area, right?
Yes, we got the Iguazu Falls here. I'm 300 kilometers away, but the province is just over 350 kilometers long and 100 kilometers wide. And we've only had about 5 cases here.
Yeah, but see, so you're all in on the technology and you're in a remote area where you haven't been hit that hard. And here you have people in Buenos Aires that you're saying have been
Yeah.
hit reasonably hard and they're not taking it seriously.
No, I'm desperately trying to get hold of government people and different media. I've got a small media here, but the big media, you can't even get hold of them. They're all with a Twitter and this and that, and I'm not hooked up to those things. So I try to get hold of them the right way through email or phone or whatever, but nobody gives you any dice.
Yeah, it looks like besides Iran, Brazil's made the most progress, right? With the 3,400 members that they have in their Telegram.
Yeah, they have a beautiful reaction they had. When I was there up there in November, they started the group going, and it certainly grew very fast.
Yeah, I know Raphael's been doing a marvelous job, and I know Maria Lima has been taking an enormous amount of criticism.
Yeah, I was with, I forget, I mix up all the names. Raphael, I was with Raphael there. In fact, when when Mr. Kesh, I was right by next Mr. Kesh when he told Raphael, well, you got to be in charge of the whole group and you got your big responsibility coming along. So I was the spectator there.
Well, he's really grown into it. He's done a magnificent job, and you know, Maria has been working unbelievably. I know how many hours that she works during the daytime, and I just I can't do it myself. It's a magnificent job that she's doing.
Yeah.
Liliana and others. The list is so long, and these people don't get the credit, but they're not looking for credit. They're looking to spread their compassion.
Yeah.
And as Shweta said, you know, that this is the plasma science is all about love and understanding how to give that love, and it's more than well, actually, my opinion is we're not asking enough. We're not asking enough of the plasma to do the job, and that's as Mr. Kesh said on Thursday. We don't know how to ask.
Yeah, well, Brazil is enormous, so it's not easy for them. I'm doing my work here in the city I live. We're about 80,000 people, and I've been doing the plasma water for the last over 4 years. And I've got about between 100 and 200 people that come along during the week or every day practically. And they take the water along and they're sort of getting cured from many different illnesses.
Okay, well, this is a big point, John. You see, uh, the gentleman was saying that he was doing the same thing in his town in Brazil, and his town happens to have the least number of cases, or let's put it in perspective. Every town except his town has had an increase in cases. So my
Yeah.
question to you is, do you think that through your work you have been able to contribute to the small numbers?
I imagine so, yes, because I've got people that travel here over 100 kilometers to come and fetch the water. And everybody, they can't believe the way this works. But they come and fetch the water and they're very thankful for it.
Yeah, because there's two aspects, right? There's prevention and protocol.
Yep.
So if we have the right prevention, and then what causes the prevention really is the kind of energy that is created through the field strength.
Yeah.
So you are in fact creating a field strength that is not in line with the virus. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure do. I imagine I've made in all this time, I've made between, I calculate about maybe 100 to 200,000 liters. And even if some of it goes down the drain, it is doing its job.
Exactly.
It's just
So,
like we've been asked for years ago to spill the plasma water in the lakes and rivers, no?
well, this is the thing here in Canada, we can't do what they're doing in Brazil. I'm sure you've seen the intros there where the multitude of people are spraying the
Right,
plasma
yeah.
dome.
Yep.
Yeah, you do that over here in Canada and you get into a street fight.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
You're playing,
seriously, it's bad. It's
yeah, you're sort of playing carnival out of date.
yeah, you know, everybody's got their cell phone. Hey, you know, what are you doing? You're spreading the virus? No, I'm trying to eradicate the virus. No, you're spreading the virus. You're a spreader. And oh no, you create all sorts of problems for yourself. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got a camera, and everybody's what do you call it? A whistleblower.
Yeah.
It's really caused how should we say it?
very panicky.
There's a tension, tremendous tension in the air.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Panicky. Yeah. But anger, and they're looking for ways and means of voicing that. And I guess that's one of the reasons the protests against the masks are so successful. But I think we all agree that that's a futile aspect of it. I'm very glad that we have the scientific journal. We're definitely going to be continuing with that over here, but I'm not hanging my hat on that. I'm not coming with that first. I'm coming with, like you, with the water first. Help your fellow man first. And then, when you get challenged, and you do get challenged, slap them with the book and say, you do your homework, I've done my homework, and then we can talk later, because we don't have time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not easy, but we're going to continue, and I think we're going to have so many new occurrences coming along in the next 6 months. Everything's going to turn over, I think.
Yeah, I agree. John, thank you so much for being with us on a Sunday afternoon, and please continue your work. It's extremely valuable. You may be over the hill, but there's another hill ahead of you, so.
Yeah. We've all got our crosses nearby, yeah.
No, leave the cross. It's a pathway. It's a bridge.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I take it that way, yes. Very much so.
Seeing as we're getting all these foreigners here in the North American team, I'm wondering if Jalal has his microphone fixed.
Yes, my friend.
Oh my God, I am so happy to hear your voice.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone. Good evening and good day for you.
Thank you so much for joining us here, Jalal. We really appreciate your moral support. You're kind of you're quite kind of the freak in your country.
Not only in my country, also in my family.
Oh, seriously, still?
Yeah. It's always like this.
After all the work that you did, all the work that you did for your wife and everything else?
Yeah. Look, and when you born, your family give you a structure that you make a pace from it. From this pace you go on. So you learn that always you must have a pace to go from that pace, that whatever happened, you have your own pace, like a home or whatever. So everyone, they have his own pace. He developed his own pace, like faith. So he will not ever give that so easily, because if he said, if I give that, so I cannot have anything to grab in, I will be lost. So that's why everyone, when you speak to them in the beginning, okay, this is okay, very interesting, but what should I do? Okay, you just leave what you learn, you just leave what you have and learn this new thing. No. How I gonna leave my education? Oh, okay. How I gonna leave this? What the doctors say? How gonna leave what the government say? How can I leave what the TV say? So you always have this problem with these guys, and even it's really, Alex. Really, it's amazing.
So Jalal, you know what a lily pad is. So it's like a frog on a lily pad. He doesn't want to get off.
And if he want to get off, he need the same. he want the same lily pad what he used to So he don't want he want to see it as a matter state. And now, you know what is the problem? And really, I prepared my note writing this pen. I would like to show you something, guys, to draw something for you, if you allow me, Alex.
Yeah, Mark, is everything good?
Yes, I can promote him to, if he's not has the ability, we'll make him a co-host. Would you like to see how it goes, Jalal, or would you like me to make you a
Yes,
co-host?
please. Yes, please, if you can. Okay. Let me go tell you guys what's happening and what's coming ahead of us. And this I cleared it to my wife before 2 days. In a way, we was discussing about what you are giving and when you will receive. You know, there's a lot of people, they used, you know, when you work for a whole month, you used to have your salary in the end of month, and there's some countries they have every 2 weeks. So you used to, when you give something, you used to have it, and you see it in your lifetime. But I said, okay, if this is a cell, a human cell, and compare it to this cell, I said, a man. A cell here and a man here. A cell, let's say, in this woman body. How big is the cell and how many is a cell? Let's say this is in the womb of the woman. If the time before this woman is capable to have a baby, this is a normal cell. It's grow, and whatever time for it, it will deliver its energy for another cell. So she will see the other cell, which one's coming, and she is dying. You know, that's as a normal. But when this structure comes to the time of make a baby, I think all of us here understand very, very good what happened when this body start and preparing to have a baby. What will happen? This cell, this one, I will bring it here. This cell, if it's in this dimension, I think everything will change. This one will be like this, or smaller, or two. You know, even the shape of the woman will change. Even the color of the body will change. Everything, the hormone will change. So it will be, you know, how much stress, how much forces, how much give me your place, give me your energy, take this energy, you know. So if I take this cell as a man and I put it in that condition, and I tell him, and by the way, this cell, let's say, this cell is 1 day age, one day age, only 1 day, and will die. And I say, come, my friend, we have a new energy is coming to this place. So we need to prepare everything to this new energy. If this cell think as now these people thinking, my God, I give my life. 1 day, my life is 1 day. I give this 1 day for what? I need to see something. Said, no. This will take a little bit more time. Say, okay, how much time? Is it 1.5 days or Is it 20 hour or how much? I need to see it, you know, because I will give, I will work hard, I will be expand like this and change everything inside me, working so much to have something I didn't get. And then, you know, if this cell is 1 month cycle, and from the start you have baby, to deliver this baby, you need 9 months. That means X9 time, lifetime. You know, my Alex, the question here, who from us will give the whole of his life working 9x9 times to see in the end what is outcome of this work? This is a very serious question. Only if this cell, this cell work with the whole group, then she will be sure 100% this is finished because I have faith in this body. We will have something out of that. And what is coming out, it will be benefit for us because, you know, as Mr. Cass said, you will receive what you leave behind. So this cell, if understand this only this word, 100% she is sure. So what she leave behind, she will get from it in the end. But who from us understand that? Who from us work all this work for this technology to become in the end, maybe in 100 years, 1,000 years, in 1 million years. Now you are coming to 100 years. Can you please tell me, can you work 100 years and then you will see it after 900 years? Said, are you kidding me? I will be dead. I will not be there. Yeah, you will not be there as a matter.
See, that was a question someone put to me this week. How long does it take to get healthy? If we can reduce the amount of time, then people would go for that. And this is where we haven't achieved that yet until we get the universal body enhancement units here.
So tell me, Alex, and I know you know the answer. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Soul level, emotion, and physicality. Which one is staying and which one is going? In the end, everything is changing to another energy. This is going to another part, and this is going to another part. Where it is, which one is which?
Well, you see, that's the thing. All things in combination. So this is the dilemma we have as a teacher when we're talking about, you know, say the physical thing and how it exchanges energy. The way it does that is different from the way our soul does it. And that is the challenge that, well, I see the challenge for me as a teacher. How do I convey that? But now as a society, how do we teach our society that is robbing and stealing and minimizing the benefit? How do we say to the society, well, you know, if you can enhance your neighbor, you will enhance yourself. This is exactly the point, isn't it?
Exactly. So the best thing, what Mr. Cass said, is the best one is you are working with this level. This is the more, because this is will stay. If a cell in our body, it will not go out from our body. It will change this matter to another matter, but the energy of this cell, and whether will go to the another one, higher one, or go to the main energy of the soul. So it will not be waste. Even if it go out, like let's say in the cycling of the woman, even if it will go out, it will go to the it creator, the matter creator, Earth. So in the same time, it will go to the same circle.
Sure.
As a matter, but in the energy level, the energy will stay there.
See, all my life, and yours too, probably. You know, they say, well, you can't do this, can't do that. So, what are some of the things that you can't do? Like I was told, well, you can't regrow a limb. Well, a salamander can do that. You can't change the color of your skin. Well, a butterfly can do that, or a chameleon. Chameleon can do that. Okay, or you can't transform into something else. Well, you know, like I say, a butterfly. Then, you know, how many times do you know when you're looking at a grub and it becomes a moth, or you look at a caterpillar and it becomes a butterfly? How does that happen? And those are, you know, not even remotely close together. So this is what you're saying. The energy is always there. So this is what's changed now. We have a possibility of doing these things that we've imposed our own restrictions and saying we can't do it. Now we can. But in order to do that, we don't do it from the bottom up. Just like you said, you got to do it from the soul level. So this opens up new possibilities.
I think this is the fastest way, because these people, you know, like, you know, a blind man walking, and he is blind, and he do not even let you to take his hand, because he understand all of the people is the same. So why he should give you his hand? No way. And you are which see everything and see where he's going in this road, and you say, please be careful. No, why I should be careful? All of us are going the same way. And he think he can see. And that is what make you and me on all this knowledge seekers. We look a little bit far away from our feet. What is coming? That is the difference. So
wow, that's great, Jalal. That's great.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, guys.
Jalal, I got a question for you.
Yes, please.
What is the technique? How would you do it from the soul level?
Hey, hang on. Jalal, you know who this is, eh?
It's Nicola, I think.
No, this is Ike from California. Ike.
Ike. Hi, Ike.
How you doing, man?
Hi, how are you? Go ahead.
Okay, let me tell you something. This is the most easiest thing. Let me go to this cell. If this cell understand, really understand that what she is giving, it will be back benefit to her and her creator, she will not have, as Mr. Cass said, a pain in delivery. Because she will be very happy to give her energy in this way. So as a man, now you are thinking. Don't think, because if you think, you need to receive, you need to see. And if you go this way, it's like this cell, she wants to see it, what she is giving in this moment. And that will not happen only in the soul level, because in that soul level, There is no time, 9 months or 1 month or 1 day or 1 minute. Don't think. Be. That's all. Mr. K said, think good and do good and act good. This is only teaching you to be good. That's all. I give from my soul. But really, really, offer it. Don't give. Let it. It's already there. If you say I give, that means you are choosing to give this one and this one and this one and this one. You are choose. But as a sun, she's shining for all over. Who is want to take? Please take. It's there for you. If you think like this, it's there for you. If you will take this cycle of time or the next one or the next one or the next one to the end, how much is the end? 1 million year is no difference, because I would like to work for 1 million year. Just now there's a lot of people, they are buying 1 day of to their life. They give so much money for 1 day. So if I tell you, okay, I can make you live for 100,000 years, how much you give me? I will give you 50% of my energy working to you. So you know how much is that? Only for working 100,000 years. And you know 100% I will give it to you. And this is the meta state. In the soul level, you are finished. Once you are here, you will go wherever. How much you gather energy, you will go. How much you left behind, you know, this really beautiful. You will feed from what you leave behind. Whatever. Now in the plasma, we understand when you are, wherever you are, even when there is a tree beside you, there is interaction, even if you don't think about it. When you think about the tree, now you are focusing the energy towards you are really making interaction with the tree. So there is an emotion level with the tree, because thinking is the emotion level. So this interaction, it will leave some plasma interaction here. Okay, in which level? This one, wherever you go now, from that time you are here, this energy will come back to you. It will feed you. So what kind of energy you want it to be fed of? Is it love? Is it hate? Is it anger? Is it using? This is all sort of energy. Everything is energy. And now with this tree, I interact. I left something here between us. Agreement. If I know it or I don't know it. There is agreement between us. There is interaction. So I will get from this interaction, from today to trillion years ahead, whatever ahead is. So if I am here after 1 day, or I am here after 1,000 years, what I like to have? A good energy, yes? All of us looking for a good energy. Okay, but my friend, when you was there, you didn't make agreement with a good energy. You steal from her, or you done something, you killed her or something. This is a bad energy. It will come to you, whatever, it is energy. Now it will take from you. Now here you want only one small plasma to achieve this point. And this one here, because you left it here, it will take from you. This one, you will go back. You will feed from what you leave behind. Interactions, energy interact. Is it with the earth? Is it with the rock? Is it with the air, with the water, with the mankind, human, animal, whatever, any entity from this second now, what you are hearing me, from this moment, you need to consider what you are going to leave behind, because you are leaving behind. This is you need to be sure 100%. So what do you want to leave behind? You leave behind what it will feed you in the future. In the future, it will be 1 second from this second until the end. So I think when Mr. Cash said think good and do good and speak good, this is the whole meaning. And we are doing it all the time, but we do not understand it. That's why we are making, we are killing everyone to make children. That it takes our names and we done something. And this is the same thing. But in the plasmatic level, we are doing it every second. When I think about Alex, now I am connected to it in this energy level. So there is something. He will interact with me. So which thinking I want to make? Which energy source? Of course, the good one. Always the good one. Because maybe in 1 year time, I need this energy. And I will have it. X9. And I think even Mr. Cash, when he used this term 21 of Mars, I think it's a day of delivery, this baby. And small cells without knowledge, they have no say in that. So have faith. This is a very beautiful knowledge, and it's walking. It's walking, and in the speed, no one really can hold it or stop it. It's beautiful to be part of it, and in the end, you will get some, according to what you put behind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ike.
Thank you, Ike, for all the work you're doing in California.
Any question before I close this page?
I have a question for you, Jalal.
Go ahead.
The relationship with the tree there, did you notice that on Thursday, the relationship between the tree and say the shrub or the herb? I found it quite interesting that the tree was more magnetical and the herb was more gravitational. Because, and why it was interesting is because I can drive over an herb, but I can crash into a tree. But I think where we're missing the point and why I'm bringing this thing up is because the tree itself and what I've seen of all the plants is they're interacting with the soul of the earth. So in order for the tree to pull away from the earth, if you will, the distance that it pulls away, it needs to be more magnetical, even though, so it needs the physical structure to support it, to go there. And it is feeding that physical structure from the soul of the earth. So this is where the higher feeds the lower. So we're saying that the core of the earth, which is the soul of the earth, is feeding the soul of the tree, and it's manifesting itself into physicality so that the tree can grow and grows away from the surface of the earth. I found this to be a very important understanding of the flow of energy between the magnetical and the gravitational. I didn't want to bring it up today, but you brought it up, and because I think this is very difficult, and it's going to be part of the teaching to understand the difference between the horizontal and the vertical people. Would you agree?
Mr. Cass said, if you understand, you do not need to remember.
Well, exactly. You think, are you working from a script? I'm not working from a script, right?
No one is. No one is.
You know, did you hear Shweta? Is she working from a script? I think she not at all. This all comes from the heart. Okay.
So what I thinking from script.
Thank you, Jalal. You are always sweet, kind.
Thank you, Jawad. Thank you.
Beautiful presentation, Jalal. Anybody else have any comments for Jalal, please?
Don't be shy, guys. You all right, whatever you think. But there is a little bit more right to it.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Jalal, for participating, and all the people who are coming from all the different continents here.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting me. Thank you.
We're starting to realize the benefits of the One Nation and how important our work is. Really, even though we're small in numbers, the work is very, very important. So I thank you for your teaching there. Mark, I'm going to hand it over to you. Are you seeing the participants list?
Yes, I am.
I don't know.
We have a soft and humble voice with us.
I wonder if we can entice it to join.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kesh. We've had a terrific meeting. All continents on hand.
Yes, it's nice to be there. We're busy with a lot of other things. It's nice to see that this meeting has taken shape and has become a regular event, and people from all over join in. I just arrived, so I don't know what you've been talking about or what has been done.
Well, I can give you a quick thumbnail. We have been focusing on the soul teachings. What we've been looking at is where we are now. We're following up on the Brazilian meeting. The Brazilian meeting brought up the consternation. They have the technology. They were hoping to get the translation of the scientific paper into Portuguese. And we emphasized to them that that doesn't really matter. They have the scientific paper, whether it's in English or Portuguese, it's not going to help them promote the technology. And what we've been discussing, and especially Jalal's latest teaching, is the emphasis from the soul level. So in conclusion, really, we're looking at where we are now, why we're there, and what is coming in September with the school opening, and what is coming in October with the possible food shortage.
And one more, you will be fed from what you leave behind. This is very, very strong word.
What we see is a drastic change, and what we see is a drastic change of position. The Iranian Keshe Foundation as a company has been accepted to be registered this week. So we become more or less hopefully active as a company in Iran. And with it, it brings us a lot of other things which has been waiting on the wing. And this, hopefully, in next few days, goes back into level of acceptance. In Keshe Foundation Iran team has gone on by the request of the government on teaching, which means we are using the what we call the report as teaching thousands of Iranians to go into the hospitals to effectively deliver the technology. This is the way government has seen it, bypassing the bribery, the what we call the Ministry of Health and the officers of the Ministry of Health who are on the huge bribes. So once this takes shape, it has started actually now in 2 hospitals in Iran. And as I requested the officials that we do the teaching on television and radio for the people to learn totally. If it gets accepted, you'll find out the position with the report will change drastically as Iran will show drop in infections and drop in death nationally. It's taken a long time because we literally, it's Keshe Foundation and us people who support us within the structure of the leadership and the Ministry of Health is a head-on battle. It is not something we're talking behind. And the officials have taken the steps in a drastic way that we bypass the situation. That when this goes, you'll see the report will get accepted in different way around the world. I've authorized the acceptance of the position of the Keshe Foundation as a what we call in Europe as a civil defense unit organization. And KFM in Iran has been given, all our officers, few hundred of them now will be given as a civil defense authorities, or people who can be employed to deploy the technology by teaching others. And no one can stop us anymore from now on. We can, as part of what we become an enforceable civil defense group. And its Keshe Foundation is not as on, is on the protection of the, what we call leadership. And the process has started for us as of yesterday or today. Once this goes the way we see it, we cannot bypass the president. He's corrupt beyond. And they have to wait to impeach him or they let him run another 6 months of his presidency. And this way, they found a way to accommodate the Keshe Foundation. In a way, nobody can touch us entering hospitals anymore. It's a specific, what we call permits issued by the leadership through SEPA that we become immune from anything at the moment, which means that we can apply and apply. And when the results start coming in, we'll see how, what we call, the data will read. And in the next 7-10 days, we'll see the structure. And then you see the report international be accepted. It's a lot of work. Book number 2 and 3 are going through the process. The report is coming out as a book. First book as a report with Corona. And they're publishing it on television, radio, television to promote it. And then it starts us with everything else. So don't be disappointed. The government don't accept it when it becomes, as it's going, we see it. The way it's going now, we have all of 2 major hospitals in Iran now. 2 major. The heads of governments and their families now, we used to send knowledge seekers, support group to people's home if they needed it. Now, last week, even the family of the heads of state or government who were infected, they were told you have to come to the hospital to get, no knowledge seekers will move out of the hospital now. So we have been given a massive base one of the major hospitals, and this will start going in a way, the way they want. And you'll find once the report comes out, it has two advantages for us if you work the way we see it. First of all, is recognition of the technology in Iran, and it allows us to go into the space technology very rapidly. On the other hand, because we published the paper in the Plasma Time Journal, journal become reputable, what you call journal for publication. And this allows us to bring a lot of things in, but it's a battle. In Iran, they say less than 5% of the population want the president to be in the office. So we can imagine what pressures are made by him to be in. And we thought the past presidents were corrupt and taking bribes. This one has beat them all up. So don't worry if you don't have a support. Just give it another couple of weeks. You will see the change because we are in it. And the Keshe Foundation team is literally in hospitals, saving a lot of lives, and on the streets and everywhere else.
Mr. Cash, when you put out television announcements for the book, are you also going to mention the work in the hospitals with the virus?
The head of publicity of the SEPA, the special division, has been given the charge of the Keshe Foundation publication and interface with the government. One of the most powerful men in Iran has been given the job to see how they can get this situation sorted, because it's a very, very dangerous position. Up to now, till yesterday, we kept it very quiet, and now that dangerous position has turned towards that we at least got protection for the knowledge seekers. Then we have to see how the publicity group will go ahead with it. We asked for a television release and publication. Iran television radio is highly controlled. And we are pushing for the first ones to come out. You have to see they start the propaganda if you're not. If you go to the Iranian channels, you see it, a number of specific features for Keshe Foundation has been made in Iran to bring the Keshe Foundation into public, and it's very extensive, it's very detailed, and visualizes Keshe Foundation as a peaceful organization. They deliberately set it out this way by the government. We have people who are continuously adding this every day. It's a massive propaganda, and is to elevate Keshe Foundation nationally. They have to do this, that allows the Iranian nation to get to know the foundation, and it's been embedded in the flag of Iran, and they have created an image that brings sign of peace with the Keshe Foundation. And we see a lot of videos coming out. We've seen a lot of unity coming out from the Iranian officials on the Keshe Foundation. I'll show you this. Some of this. This is in all. This is the first message. It's come out yesterday. This it says we are messengers of peace and friendship. KFSSI. This is in Iranian public domain now. It's a way the leadership is bringing the Keshe Foundation out. This is the advertising of one cup. It says, very soon the world will become the center of Danish Iran, become the center of the knowledge of the new knowledge. This is again, Keshe Foundation has, this is on internet across Iran, going into the television and radios. Continuously promoting Monkapon, what do you call it? This is the first time we see the flag of Iran, the flag of Keshe Foundation as a KFSSI across Iranian network.
Just one question here. I hope they are telling the people that we are totally international.
Yes, of
because
course. That's why we carry
good.
that banner of KFSSI. It is international. It's not an Iranian organization. If you read the Parsi, it says about that means when you pray to God or when you serve God, it's nothing but to serve the nation. And this is flag of Keshe Foundation. We can say it. This is literally going. There are videos with this. Continuously, Keshe Foundation now in past 2 weeks promoted by the government officials through Keshe Foundation network, all the channels, as one of the leading scientific nations groups. This is the book. This, you see this continuously coming up in Iran now. They started it 2 weeks ago, and we have broken through. It's continuous KFSSI. It's a massive work, which is Iran. There is the best one they have released is this one now. Uniting the Iranian nation on the flag of KFM.
Will these become standard in a sense for using in other countries? Like the
It
picture
depends
of
who
the
picks it up, yes. This is, as you see, it carries the flag of Iran. We have united all the states of Iran on the flag of Keshe Foundation. The 69 support teams and hundreds of backup. They have decided that the support team decided to bring all the states because they said there was a northeast in the desert. They created a banner under one. And it's the way it's going at the moment. We see it on all the Keshe Foundation channels. And it is amazing how it's going. We're keeping very quiet. The public is taking the KFSSI, Keshe Foundation, as part of the pride of Iranian knowledge and technology. And this is how they promote us as a scientific group.
It might be useful if you put out small snippets of information on other things as well, besides the health.
It's everything. We're going into the space.
Because I can't read what's there because it's...
It says the purpose of the Keshe Foundation is helping people from the hands of death, in a way. And it's the support of the nation.
Thank you for translating that. Very beautiful pictures and artwork.
Hello, Mr. Kesh. This is Dave from Atlanta. I'd like to ask you a question. A few weeks ago, you talked about in Iran, the doctors were using the one drop, one life on the corona patients in the hospitals. I was curious as to what the results of that were, and will you be releasing the details on what the exact protocol, one drop, one life for corona would be?
Sounds like Mr. Kesh has given his answer. He's remaining silent.
What happened? We are taking other steps with this one drop, one life. Even today, we're as part of overcoming pharmaceutical problems. We have taken a massive step today, and hopefully within the next few days we'll get more of this, and that the Kesh Foundation will take new steps in world of medicine. We'll announce it very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
The position with us is, if this result comes out in what we started, we will literally close pharmaceutical businesses in a very rapid way. Our team of scientists working on it. But now 2 hours ago, they reported they have started the procedure. Even we can make everything available at zero cost. And our team are very, very hopeful we get it. We should see the results in next week, 2 weeks, and then it'll come, because these researches are not done in Iran. Heavily concentrating on Iranian teams. We got large number of scientists in Iran helping us, and when we called for help for these two major hospitals, one is actually started, now the second one's coming too. People have traveled from all corners of Iran to be in Tehran to help to make sure that the hospital is supported. And instead of having the knowledge seekers in the wards, I asked the knowledge seekers to ask professional nurses to be in the wards they are taught, because once we finish, we can send these nurses across the country. So instead of knowledge seekers being in, we are training nurses inside the hospital as Kesh Foundation team, not as hospital team. And we, this way, knowledge seekers support with the technology. In the hospital, we have given rooms, we have given accommodation for them to sleep. Literally, the hospital has bent backwards to do, because they've seen the results over 6-8 weeks. And so the knowledge seekers are traveling. I've seen a video this morning, yesterday, that from all over Iran are just literally pouring into Tehran slowly to support this, that they can support the rest of it. Iran has started a revolution in science, and we see it. And I promised that to the Iranian leadership that I return to Iran in September to raise the space technology to new heights, new standard. And we have already offered the first flight system to the government. And we'll see how it goes. The beauty of it is that the nation is taking the Kesh Foundation across, not the Kesh Foundation knowledge seekers that done all their work. They're still there. The leadership, the support, the army divisions, the members of the parliament, the head of the states of the different divisions all have come as part of the Keshe Foundation. It's just that we have a president who is incompetent, and by whatever is there, the problem is he's Ayatollah and cannot be handled. If he was a normal civilian president, he would have been removed. He sits in the clergy, and he's using that what I call position to abuse. If the president was not Ayatollah, we would have removed it immediately. And if we removed an Ayatollah as a president, then it creates a lot of problem inside Iran for religious leaders. This is how it's the only way we can handle it without the structures.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh, for answering those questions of mine. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, it's not me, it's the Iranian Keshe Foundation. We just support them. Now that the company has set up, we can officially start operating in Iran. KFM Iran has been accepted. Now it's just a matter of share transfers and everything else. And the rest is done by knowledge. If you attend Monday teachings, they have gone so much into the spiritual side of the teaching about the soul and everything else. The nation is hungry for breakthrough, and they have received it. And the beauty of it is, the leadership, all the forces have seen their own family being saved by the Corona, by the foundation. That's where we come strong. We're getting invited to be in the cities, but we don't have enough people to be in the cities, so we have asked for a public teaching. If we get granted, then we are no. Any other question?
Mr. Kesh, there's been a big change in the Brazilian community there. They have definitely gone on the soul teachings. The discussion has been very intense, and now we've brought that to the North American team. I'm trying to keep up with you.
Yeah, I think we have to see how it goes. Don't forget, when we went to Brazil, we had a huge problem in Brazil because of the Universal Council member who actually caused a lot of problem, and 2 people were controlling the whole of Brazil and we gave them the freedom of their own talk, and they just took it and they ran with it. The head of the Keshe Foundation usually tends to be on the Friday teachings. She's always there. And the same year, over these holidays, we're trying to attend to as many talks like this, regular meetings, and to give them the support that they can go to the next step. The situation happened with what happened to do with my private life, damaged a lot of people. A lot of people were discharged, and in that process, we went out to what we call consolidate. And give a lot of hope and encouragement to people to stay together. And we've seen many groups we attend understood this was a human failure. And we've seen very radical writings across different parts that blaming her for many deaths in Italy, and some people wanting it to be removed from all the teachings and everything else. But we have to handle it that way. We have to respect what it is, where we are and who we are, and trying to bring people to be ready for what's about to come. It's part of the process and part of understanding. It's a part of the cycle of the life of the foundation. And we are entering a new phase, new understanding, and we have to be gracious and just overlook a lot of things. The process is to the benefit of humanity. And we will break through in a massive way as we see it. And we will announce by Thursday the venue for the opening of what we call the exhibition of the 2 new systems and all the Keshe Foundation materials, with what we call ambassadors and prime ministers of the nations invited to join us in time. And we are going into that phase, the publicity and public understanding the new technology. So we are entering, and I always said I knew the breakthrough comes when this change came to the foundation. And in that way, we have achieved a lot. And it's not just one anymore. Brazil, America, the Keshe Foundation, Germany, France, Spain, and across Dutch people, and the Chinese. We are invited back by the Chinese leadership, 2 days ago, for me to return to China on a permanent basis, on the invitation of the leadership of China, which we have given an indication we are prepared to work with the Chinese officials on my return, but as a one nation group with Iran. And the invitation has been accepted. We'll see what happens and how we become and how we progress. We are part of a multi-million groups. It's not individuals anymore. And we saw the people who claim to be and end up have already taken their end, and they're going to be. We saw how what we call the Portuguese tried to lock down Brazil, and we opened Brazil in a very beautiful way. The 2 trips we made changed everything. And now we can work better with other nations. John is doing so much beautiful work in Arizona. It will become the center of the research and development between Iran, US, in a very big way in the coming time. We got to bear the flag of peace and do not listen to rhetorics, and this is where we succeed. Anyway, I just came in to pop in, and thank you very much for all your work, and try to extend the teachings. This is what we are asking. Use the chat rooms to teach, because when the time comes, if the teaching is not in the structure like in Iran, we won't be able to see the benefits. It's time to bring all the knowledge from the past and the present together on a teaching banner. And when it comes to moving, we can move. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Just don't. The only thing is we got to extend the teaching, and not only on Thursdays or whatever the workshops. We start advertising back again the workshops as other people were abusing it before we stopped it 2 years ago. You will hear on Tuesday and Thursday. We back the first workshops now, set up by the Dutch team on Sunday the 16th. We have a huge base in Holland, and now we are bringing it back in, ready for it, because we have a possibility of large investment by Middle Eastern Group into Holland on behalf of the Keshe Foundation. Now we're getting supported by different type of organizations than before. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And I know you're doing a lot of work in teaching, but try to start public teaching back on the track, because we need it very soon. Thank you very much.
Mark, I'm going to sign off the meeting to you on behalf of myself. I want to thank everybody for being here and contributing the way you have today. I think we're going in the right direction, and we're starting to understand the magnitude of everything that we're involved with here. And I really want to emphasize the amount of time and attention that you've given to the type of subject matter that I brought here, and I really appreciate that. We have some leaders in our group, and we have leaders in Brazil, and even more leaders in Iran, and they are plowing the road for us. So it's actually very easy for us to follow through. So on that note, I'd like to thank Mark and Peggy for making this possible, and I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Okay, I'll just thank you, Alex, and thank you, Mr. Keshe, for coming in. I'm going to play a clip from the Keshe Foundation store that you'll find in the 339th workshop. So such great news. We've all been holding our breath, and it's being delivered, as Mr. Keshe said. He took on this mission, and he is delivering. And it's very beautiful to hear how this is all coming together, even with the bumps and the flat tires and so on along the way. It's just so fantastic. So I'm going to play that. When this is over, the meeting will end. So if anyone would like to say anything now, please feel free to add what you'd like to say or add to the knowledge.
I will say thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
I would say for those who are able, add to the wiki that others can learn from.